Greetings and salutations, Ben and Chad here. Y'all right about there. Welcome to the Sunday Night Hanging right here on Sunday. We're doing a deep dive on the Ernie Ball Axis and Allies. All the above. Now we'll figure it all out, folks. I hope you're in for it. I know there's a big following of these guitars in the YouTube community and outside the YouTube community because more than just us play them. But yeah, so if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, do that in the chat. But I want to welcome long overdue. We realized we've never actually talked like this before. We go back all the way. I'm going to say go back to like basically day one of my channel. Like I remember us seeing each other in the chats before I even started doing content. So like at least 7 years. Part of the Ashby Mafia is Chad Tobin, everybody. Toobbiinn1.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess this is about time that we did this.
Long overdue. Overdue. Also, the only guy I remember ever on this channel that actually sent a package to my father.
Oh. He was an awesome guy.
I'm trying to remember. You sent me some patch cables, little tiny the Ernie Ball patch cables. Yeah. And you sent him some Cape Breton stuff.
I did. I think there was an Ashby magnet for the fridge.
Yep.
And I saw it and I thought of your dad, so I said, you know what, he'd probably enjoy that. So
and he did.
I always love watching the streams with your dad. It was awesome. Like he was just I love watching. Yeah, I loved him talking about stories and talking about Telecasters and the way gigs were. And it's great. I mean, I'm not from Cape Breton, but my family is. And then I've lived here for quite a while now. So for watching your father was like being connected in a different way.
I remember that. Like, you popped in, he went, hey, he looked at the screen name with Tobin? He goes, what's your father's name?
Yeah. And like he knew, he actually knew. I think he knew because my grandfather was a Loomis, a courier driver, and just kind of knew everybody in Ashby. And so like I guarantee you the two of them had met. Like it had to have happened.
Yeah,
right.
So or one of my uncles. Guaranteed. There's 100%. And we will touch on a little bit later too, folks, because how could we not? We're being a Canadian podcast, sure, live stream even, but we should do a roll call in here. Let's see. We got first in the chat. We had Ferd Burfel, awesome. L Barjay, good to see Lee in here. Cushman NYC, unfucking believable, who just got an Ernie Ball yesterday. He got a Luke 3.
Oh wow!
Not gonna lie.
Wow! Big fan of the Luke.
Yeah, and it looked like I'm like, oh, it's a burst, and then he changed it, and all of a sudden, Sparkle. It was like hide and go seek Sparkle. I'm like, what? I didn't know that existed, but yeah. Dastardly Dave is here. Good to see you. Who else? Cushman NYC. Greasy Monkey Guitars, who's going to be on next Sunday. That's going to be a bunch of fun. Eston Ray is here. Who else? There's Brother Trev, Symmetry. Billy Baloney, Charles 75N, hanging out from the workshop. Can't tag back. Fair enough. Wayne McConnell's here. Bonkers is here. Steve's here. Steve was last week's guest. See, I even remembered Steve. Oh, John Lendino. McCollum Music. Good to see you, Matt. Martian Murray. He's neither Martian nor Murray. Still like him. JP Page 2. Good to see Jim. Randy Crooks. Great to see Randy. Who else have we got here? Rhodey's Jam Cave is here. Brian from Searching for Tone. Awesome. Let's see. Scroll. Michael Kraus. Happy birthday to Michael. It was his birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah. All the sparkles. Exactly. Arf. Good to see you. And there we go. We're caught up. And Rock Daddy, in case I didn't say Rock Daddy. Jesus. Awesome. Good. Chat fam, good evening. You're going to lurk tonight. Yeah, you can lurk, Arf. That's fine. So, yeah. Ernie Ball access. So you were before I forget, I'll do it. You were asking me off air. You were going to ask me how I acquired mine.
Yeah. Just because it's always been a staple on your channel, right? Like having it in the background or like the restreaming videos. So I want to hear that story.
I want to say I got it in 2019. because I know I'm still at the old house, so that would have been at least 2019, if not 2018. But I think no, 2019, because otherwise I would have gigged with it in the band. And what happened was, old buddy of mine went to school with my sister. Actually, I went to school with his older sister. Funny how that works out. I knew he played a bit and stuff, and he says, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to play anymore. I'm going to sell my stuff." I said, "Oh, okay." He says, "You interested?" I said, "Well, yes, but no, because yes, I'm always interested in new gear, but no, because I don't have any money," which is usually the case. So he says, "Well, come on down to the shop, see what we can do." And so I go down, and he's got the Ernie Ball access, which I'd known about because being in the world of Van Halen in YouTube,
Sure.
You heard all these things about the various and the PVs and the wall. I'm like, okay, and I kind of dipped my toe into that world by buying a Kramer the year before, and so I thought, that's my tribute to Eddie. It's not striped up, but it's a Kramer. It's from the '80s, right. And so I go over to Buddy's store, and we're in the back room, and he shows me the access, and he shows me this hardtail Wolfgang, which I wasn't even really aware of hardtail Wolfgangs. Like, it's like, okay. No, and I think I had been somewhat aware, like, of them existing, but I've never seen one. I think, Gerd from France, he had one. It's like the only person, which if you're part of the Van Halen community back in the day, you know who Gerd was. So I was like, okay. So he's got the two guitars. And I said, well, what are you looking to do? Well, I want to sell them. I said, well, okay. He says, well, like, I'll just give them to you. You sell them, and you take a commission. You're more plugged into this world than I am. I said, okay, So, all right. So we're talking. All of a sudden, bing, customer comes in. He goes, let me go handle this. I'm like, all right. I said, do you mind if I take a couple photos and talk to some people? He said, yeah, of course. Go ahead. So he goes to leave talk to the customer. Middle of the day, Chad. And what do you do in the middle of the day in 2019 when you have a question about a Wolfgang or a Music Man? You take a couple photos and you text Dave fucking Nezdall.
He's the guy. He was the guy. He knew.
Right?
He knew all. He knew all.
Yeah, Nezdall knows all. Nez says.
Yeah. And if he didn't know, he could probably contact the person who either works at the company or knows somebody famous that probably worked on the guitar, And I'm talking about Van Halen guitars, like,
right. So of course, I sent him the photos. I said, what do we got here, including the serial numbers and such, right? Or no, he said, what's the serial number? I said, well, where is the serial? It's stamped on the side of the headstock. I'm like, who fucking does that?
Yeah, it's in the string on the Wolfgang. It's in the strange
right. Yeah, so I'm like, okay. Hey, Steve Cassidy. And so, and then immediately, because he doesn't text, as you know, he's not a texter. Can I call you? That the best you get out of a text from Dave, and you used to do, can I call you? He did the voice to text thing. Okay. He says, do you know what you have there? Dave, he's either here or, and when it's new guitars, he says, you know what you got there? I'm like, no, I don't, Dave. That's why I'm asking you. He says, okay. He says, Ernie Ball and Music Man Access, made in America, between this date and this date. He says, it's decent, blah, 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 worth X amount of dollars. I said, okay. He says, now the Wolfgang. He says, you need to buy that guitar, Ben. I'm like, why, Dave? He says, because you're a hardtail guy. You like Tellys and Les Pauls. That's a hardtail. That's your Wolfgang. I'm like, okay, Dave. And I said, also, I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, it's a made in Japan special. They only made them for like a year. Well, 2 years technically.
Right.
I think the model run was supposed to be 2010 or 11, but they went through part of the next year.
Yeah. So bird's eye maple necks, stainless steel frets,
vintage small frets too. Right. Flat top, not arched, like a special is. And I went, oh, okay. And I thought to myself, most of, from what I've gathered in the YouTube community in a couple of years at that point, most of the people have the wiggle sticks on them. You don't see a lot of hardtail Wolfgangs. So then I thought to myself, well, if they only made them for a year, we'll say, for the sake of argument, how many of the run in 1 year were actually hardtails? I wouldn't even say it would have been 10%. It might have been 5%, maybe 5%, maybe closer to 1 or 2%. Out of let's say 1,000 guitars, 50 or maybe hardtails, maybe. I don't know. So I thought to myself, right there, rarity. So I was okay, boom. So basically, I got them both for what the Music Man was worth.
Wow.
At that time. And the Music Man in 2019 is, I want to say, doubled in value since that time.
100%. They've just gone crazy, right? It's just, and it all has to do with the lineage to Van Halen, right?
Yeah, like I remember that hardtail. Like I think now it's back down to, let's say 1,800 Canadian. They seem to go for.
Yeah, even that's kind of low. That's low, really. Like it.
Yeah.
Usually, I think they're around 23 would be like a really good fair.
Unfortunately, when Eddie passed, they were listing for 35 plus, and I thought to myself, I don't want to. And I needed some money at that time, but I went nope, because I was thinking about selling it, and then he passed away, and I went no, because I won't sell it at 3,500 because that's bad karma, and I don't want to sell it for $2,000 for someone immediately to list on Reverb the next day for 3,500.
Yeah.
So I just held on to it, and which other than the fact that it has fret sprout like a motherfucker every winter, it's a great guitar.
Right. Do you case it in the winter or is it out?
I leave them out year round.
Okay. I've cased mine and had good luck with no fret sprout.
Well, I've got a buddy offered to fix the fret sprout for me. I just haven't got around to actually taking the guitar over to him in a couple of years because that's how we are as guitar players.
Yeah, like electricians who have wiring and stuff hanging out of their houses, right?
Yeah, and then so I took them home and snapped a couple of photos outside. Ooh, look at these, And I think I only snapped the Wolfgang initially because I was telling you off air, I wasn't planning on keeping the Music Man. I thought I'll flip it. It's worth more money. Just in the profit alone, or my cut will basically pay for the Wolfgang.
Right.
That was the idea, or at least So I got inside. And I thought, well, let's plug in the Music Man. I'm like, oh, it's got a 5-way switch. I'm like, well, that's interesting. The amount of tone variances right there. It's like, where were you when I was doing covered band gigs?
Like a Swiss Army knife.
Oh, Les Paul, Telly, Strat, all the sounds.
Yeah.
And I was saying off here, I don't like natural finished guitars. They look plain to me. They look unfinished. It looks like it's been sanded down. It's ready for paint. But I went and plugged it in. And I went, well, I guess I'm owning a natural finished guitar because this is the best sounding guitar out of any guitar I own. The neck feels amazing. Surprisingly, for they are small guitars, but they're not because it's still a full scale length. It's just the bridge is to the back. The headstock is super small. So it gives the illusion that's much smaller. And, I'm 6'1". It doesn't feel tiny on me.
Yeah.
So that was great.
It's an incredibly balanced instrument. I think the neck is to die for, and we'll kind of deep dive on that. But I really think when people kind of like hold on to it, they say, okay, there's something different about this. And then Eddie kind of wanted a kind of a cross between the Les Paul and the Telecaster. So it really makes sense that you would fall in love with that guitar because it's that hodgepodge of those two bodies, right?
Guitars. Yeah. And it's just like I think with the 5-way switch and the wiring, they did that. I'm going to call it the Ibanez Super Switch wiring because that's kind of where we first saw it in mass production.
Right.
And it covers a lot of ground. And it's interesting because Eddie came with this design of Music Man, but then when he left, they said, hey, we got, what started out as we got these leftover parts, similar to what PV did. Let's just put it together and put it out there. But then they went, no, let's do the 5-way because they didn't do the 5-way switch when Eddie had it. It was a 3-way switch.
Right. Yeah,
so let's do the good wiring. Offer the choice of a locking trem or their vintage trem because a lot of guys are Strat style players and they're not going crazy on it. And that opened it up too because, for me, I don't want to spend 2 hours restringing a Floyd Rose guitar. That's just me because I'm mainly a hardtail guy. Right. I would prefer just a Strat style trem for me. So was it instant the minute you plugged it in? You said, "Okay, this is it. This guitar is staying." Pretty much, yeah, because it was set up well. The only thing I didn't like was it had 10s on it. Right. Took those off, put a set of 9s on it, and it died. It lost all of its soul. It became very weak and anemic sounding. I went, no way, because I used to force myself, like, these are the strings I use on the guitar. Now, because of that guitar, it taught me, let the guitar decide what strings it should have. Right. So for that one, it was the only one I would string up with the 9 through 46. So that way I still have my light strings on the bottom for bending, but it needed that 46 up top. Otherwise, it sounded thin.
Interesting.
And ironically, over the last few years, I've transitioned to most of my guitars now go through 9 through 46 instead of 9 through 42. Right. Wow. So how did your journey with Ernie Ball Music Man Access or XI begin?
Well, I'm going to tell you, being in Canada, we just didn't. And being a teenager when For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge came out in 1991, when the guitar came out, I remember opening Guitar World, I think it was the January issue, and there he was holding the red Music Man, and I thought, I didn't know what to think because we were just so used to this, right?
Right, so, yeah, and like for me, I was like, well, isn't that the bass company? Like, because I could only ever think of the Stingray bass.
Yeah, it's so iconic, right? And like so many Stingray players and that sound of rock. I mean, the AC.
But outside of that, like, sound. Who played in Ernie Ball before Eddie showed up? Like I'm sure they existed.
Yeah, Steve
Morris, like they just started the guitar company when Edward showed up, but still.
Yeah. I think Steve Morris was pretty early.
Yeah,
as like Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood had Silhouettes. Right. On Steel Wheels tour, that's where that actually really, I think, beefed up the company. Was that, but just me seeing that ad, it made me dream. But again, like being in Nova Scotia, there was no Music Man dealers. The only dealers I think in Canada were Stevie's Music in Montreal, right, Toronto, and Ottawa, and maybe someplace in Vancouver.
Right. Yeah.
And so there was no hope, and there was only 1,000 of them made per year. Right. So it was just like, it was impossible. So it was always a dream.
That means 5 are going to come to Canada, 10, 20.
Do you know what? That's not far off. Like I would say probably, 10, 20 would probably, just because the demand was so high.
Coming in at, let's say, more or less Gibson prices. Yeah. Steve's Music can't afford to bring in more than 3 or 4 per location.
Yeah.
It's just the simple math of it all.
Yeah, which kind of comes into play in this later in the story for me, Stevie's in Montreal. But yeah, I just looked at it and it was always just a dream. And I had a 88 Fender Telecaster that I used to kind of almost pretend like it was the Music Man because it was, shaped that kind of that way. But I just would, I had a Kramer Focus 1000 that I had a guy paint, and I loved one of my favorite Van Halen album was OU812, and then For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge came out at a time when I had discovered Van Halen. So that was my first real new Van Halen record that I waited for.
Right.
So it just changed my life, and then I was obsessed. I've always been Van Halen obsessed. So anything that he did, I was interested in, especially that was the current guitar at the time.
Right.
And fast forward to 2007. So I become a teacher and I'm doing different things, and guitar is almost kind of out of my life. And then a good friend of mine messaged me and said, hey, a guy that we used to get guitars from, who used to get a hold of a lot of stuff. He was a trucker, and he had a route that he would go to Daddy's Junkie Music in the States, and he'd bring back all sorts of crazy things. He'd do Quebec runs a lot. Anyways, he said, listen, you gotta give him a phone call, because there wasn't texting. Well, I guess there was, but I never had a phone. And you got to call this guy because he's got a red Van Halen Music Man, and he wants $1,900 Canadian for it. And I thought, red was my favorite color of all of them. So I thought, this is the lottery for me. Anyway, sure enough, I called him up and I said, yeah, and it was like my last $2,000 that I had. I was in university at the time, and it was the last $2,000 that I had. And I said, yeah, I didn't have a car. I said, I'll pay your gas. Can you deliver it? And he said, absolutely. So he drove it down, and it was instant. Like, as soon as I held it, I went, this is the guitar for me. Like, this guitar makes so much sense. But something really happened, because I had like quite a few guitars at that time, but it made all the other necks feel strange. And I've heard people refer to this as like the Ernie Ball neck disease, where you get so used to the Ernie Ball neck that everything else feels so either wide or foreign. So
Right.
a lot of the Ernie Ball necks are, I think, 1 5/8. So like
Right.
that's why telly players love.
Well, yeah,
usually
and
love
I
the
always look
Music
at it
Man.
like I always think it looks like a banjo neck because the thickness of the neck at the nut compared to the width, it looks like it's round almost, but it's
Yeah.
visually deceiving in that way.
Big time. And then so like this guitar, and the other thing that I think was so special about the Axis for me, or the Music Man first, was the fact that I knew that Music Man had copied the neck from the Kramer 5150. So how I looked at it was, not only was this guitar on this record that I loved, and as I watched the videos debut, this is the closest thing that I could get to actually touching the guitar that was in Live Without a Net, which was my dream, right? Like that was my dream upon dreams, was the Kramer 5150, my favorite guitar in the world. And I thought, well, if I have a Music Man, then that means I know exactly what the 5150 neck feels like because they copied it. Right. And that was the first part of the allure. But you're right about the pickups. There's something so crazy good about it. And I think the DiMarzio article that Larry DiMarzio wrote, he said they basically copied a broken JB, and then he specifically wired or had the front pickup design so that you could have both pickups switch and you don't have to adjust the amp. So it would sound really buttery and not muddy, and it just would be a warm kind of thick sound.
And that is the neck pickup in the Axis. It's not as dark as, say, a Gibson pickup. It's not a huge difference, but it is a bit brighter.
Right. Absolutely. So at 2007, fast forward, I get this guitar. I got it right here. Hold on one sec. I'll show it to you. So this guitar,
Michael Crow's dropping the Junkies music knowledge in here.
Yeah, there you go.
New England chain. They sold 10 billion PVs in this region.
Man, yeah. I remember they had the little printed catalog, that Daddy's Junkie House Music. So this was the guitar, and the red was actually my favorite color, and it was and the greatest thing about it is that it had some nicks already, and I love that because
you're not going to treat it like a Case Queen.
Exactly. So what I did is I played it and I gigged it for years and years and years, and I just fell in love with the guitar. And I used to not think any of it. I would take it to gigs. I would sweat. I wouldn't clean the neck, Eddie style. Like I was this was my main guitar. And then when he passed away, the value of these went crazy.
And they already were, in all honesty, like
they were, and I think that's just because there was a low production number. I think they said anywhere between 5,200 and 6,000.
Yeah,
and so 1,200 red.
They almost have a similar following to original, like even though it's different monetarily, but like burst collectors. That will go for a 58, 59, 60 Les Paul, and they know every little difference between each year to year. And it's the same as those. There was only so made. They were only made for so many years. There was only so many. And, that was always the holy grail. And again, when I started co-hosting a show with Nezdall years later, as much as he would tell me, I don't want to do another Van Halen show, Ben. I'm like, that's okay, Dave. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm a casual Van Halen fan, great guy and stuff, but my life doesn't revolve around him. But some people in the chat but we found once a month or so, we would end up doing a Van Halen show without it calling it that. And it might be, we're going to talk about the Ernie Ball Music Man or the PV, or we'd have somebody on as a guest from that world, which was great because I had all these questions. Like, I still remember one of the last shows we did. It was the first time Chris Locke was on a podcast. Donnie Ward joined him, and the two of them were just starting their business together at the time. And like, I knew Eddie tinkered. I'd been around the scene, this YouTube scene for a number of years, but I did not know the Frankenstein had 11 necks on it over its life.
Yeah, and then it just couldn't hold it, and that's what had done it. The number of necks made it retire, basically.
Yeah, and I was like 11, and Donnie's like, "Listen, we had this and this and this." It was literally, and Eddie put one on for like 5 days, didn't like it, but like some Charvel second, we'll say, or something. I'm like,
yeah,
what the? I'm like, how do you? I'm like, you're all a bunch of nerds. Like, but I love it. You know, and
the Van Halen camp.
And you know, those guys knew stuff. Dave knew his stuff, as you know. What's up, Mark? And Zach Thong, and Fireman 45, Mark Spurgeon, everybody else, all the Marks, everybody joining in tonight. Hit the like if you haven't already. Yeah, so, and I remember that, like, people be like, hey, Dave, you know, I came across a whatever color. He's, oh, yeah, they made, you know, like this many of those compared to these and that. And, you know, don't get this one because the stain, if you expose the light more than a day and a half in its life, it's going to be clear. And other ones will change into different colors. And then, you know, the pink one, there was only 3 pink ones made, apparently.
I think the pink ones, I think there was 60.
60?
I think 60. I think you might be thinking of the black or the straight black. There wasn't many.
I thought there was one. Yeah, there was like one. There was only like 3 of.
Yeah. There's definitely some rare ones, and there's some ones with some brown backs. But this one I kind of found out later because I never thought of it. It was just kind of my dream guitar. But I found out this is actually the first week of July '91, and July is the first production, apparently. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's somebody. The first production month of these. So they had 20 made for NAMM in January, but July is when they kind of really started production. And this one is so from what I think somebody in the Ernie Ball forum who works at Ernie Ball told me, this was the first one to enter Canada at Stevie's Music, and that's where it came from. Nice. And so I got it from this other guy who God knows where it came, but it's a crazy guitar, and I'm just, you know, it's one of these just have it forever type guitars. But the Axis, like, this is where it started, right? Like, this is the beginning of it, and there's a couple of differences, right? So on the original, of course, you're going to have the signature.
Yep.
But you don't have the signature anymore, obviously. Yep. And then the other thing is the there you go. And then Eddie's signature was on the end there.
Yeah, which is literally the same spot. They just moved their name.
Exactly. And then the tummy cut. So this behaves just like a regular Telecaster.
Right. Whereas, I have a gut cut in mine, which I'll get in reflection.
Oh, yeah, you got it right there. And then the only other thing is the 12th fret is a little wider to accommodate so that the bottom E string doesn't kind of slip over. So Eddie's original Kramer had that, and they kind of corrected it on the Axis. And then the where the toggle, the pickup switch.
Yeah, well, it got switched underneath.
Yeah.
And they added a tone control. Although, I should say, the top of the line ones are still single knob, like yours.
Right.
Basically, what they call the one-piece top still is configured like yours. Then they have, it's either, then it's the Super Sport, or they're all Super Sports, but then it's like the 2-piece top like mine, they moved, or they added the tone control as well.
Right.
For the 2-piece top.
Here's a 2011 Axis with the Floyd, the D2 added, of course, but where the switch. So you're right. That's really the only change. Right?
And that's the thing, folks. I've never seen a bad top.
No, there's less plain, but like this one's really great.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because that's almost like explosive thing going on there. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a 2011.
Which ironically, these look better on camera than half the time. It's weird. Like usually stuff will get blown out on camera and you don't see it, but it's like, I swear with Next especially, I always see more flame in bird's eye when it, like there. It looks way flamier on camera than it is in person.
Yeah, you're right. And these are just stock instruments.
Yeah.
Like and people are often surprised at the quality, like they feel like a custom shop kind of quality guitar. But Ernie Ball, again, they're not a huge company. Like he loved the idea that they weren't pumping out 25,000 a month.
They're only like 30 employees, like 18 on the floor and a dozen office workers / everybody else, including the Ball family themselves.
Absolutely. Like it's not a crazy setup. And I think that kind of reflects, that kind of shows like there's just something about them and they're quite different, but everybody who plays them and everybody who's played my guitars, they've always kind of said the same thing. They always go, "Oh, geez, this neck is really nice." It's like you put an Ernie Ball in somebody's hands, and it's the first thing that they say.
Well,
They're like,
it's the feel. It's that natural feel, because most people haven't felt a natural neck that was designed to be natural. If you felt a natural neck, it's somebody sanded the finish off a neck and you felt it.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
You do a certain thing. Whether they oil it or just sand it to a super high grade, whatever they do, but there is a thing there because you can feel where the clear coat starts right at the nut, which is the funniest feeling in the world. You're like, oh, I went too far.
Yeah, you can just kind of see it there, right? Like just that.
Yeah, you'll see where the gloss ends, folks. There's a bit of a tan line there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But they're extremely consistent. So, like, with Les Pauls or even custom shop tells or strats, sometimes I've picked them up and I've been like, oh my God, this is an incredible guitar. Or I've picked one up and I went, oh, this feels not so as great as I thought it would feel, but with the Music Man stuff, it's usually not that way.
I found most Ernie Balls that I played, American Ernie Balls, the Sterling, it's a little cheapy feeling for price to me.
100%.
But the American Ernie Ball stuff, it's that halfway between Fender Gibson, Sir Tom Anderson. It falls in, and it leans a little closer to the, because I played that shit too. And, given the choice of an Ernie Ball or say a Friedman guitar, I take an Ernie Ball every day of the week. It was one, Friedman's, the necks are too big for me. They have very bulky necks, especially compared to an Ernie Ball. But that said, great. It's funny. The brother guitar to mine, I call it, is JJ's House of Jams. Our good friend James. The first time I was out at his place, he pulls out, his Ernie Ball Music Man Access, and I'm looking at it, and it's just his is the Floyd Rose version, and it's got the exact same tint finish, but I'm just looking at it, and his just looks better. And I'm trying to figure it out, right? And I'm like, and it's just like the quiltiest quilt. Right. And the neck has all the bird's eye and flame, like just ridiculous. I'm like, what is going on, right? Like to the point where even the headstock, I'm seeing flamage and stuff. I'm like, what is going on here? Well, it turns out his was owned by the vice president of Ernie Ball because everybody had to have a guitar in their office, right? So he went out onto the floor and selected, I want that body, I want that neck, and just did it up, hand select everything, and then I think the guy left Ernie Ball and then just put it up for sale like on Craigslist, and then JJ got it. I'm like, must be nice living in Orange County, California, where things like that happen in life. He goes, oh yeah, I got it for a deal, brother. Just
man. Well, I will tell you this. I got this summer, and this is a limited edition purple Axis. Ooh. So this is a nitro finish, so you have to kind of be careful what you put it on in terms of things. So kind of the Gibson thing, but the flame on this is quite crazy, and it has the purple limited edition back. And the guy who's selling it didn't really want to sell it, but at the same time, he just said, "Yeah, you know what? I'll sell it." And I
like the untinted neck too, like the very light colored neck. It really works.
Yeah,
with
I do too. I do too. It just, I always wanted a purple of the Music Man, like the Van Halen, and I mean, they're just there's no way they're so crazily priced.
And that with the roasted neck, like they roast these necks so bad that they look like George Hamilton, is what I'm saying. Like
you're
gonna come out of the tanning booth half an hour earlier. Some of them. It's just
they're a little dark. Yeah, I'm with you there. Like they might just be a little bit too much where it looks like a different kind of wood, not so
like what, that oak?
Yeah, it's crazy. This one has stainless steel frets too, which is kind of, because this is, I think, a BFR, the Ball Family Reserve, kind of what you were talking about, like where they just kind of say this is reserved more. So there's 100 of these, and I think this is number 89, I think, or 90. No, I think it might be 90.
What's up, sis?
But, yeah, hey. So this is becoming kind of my favorite guitar for sure lately.
I get it.
It's just it took me a little while to get used to the different colored back, but now I actually quite like it. It reminds me of like the Crown Royal bag a little bit,
right?
Just
I could see that.
And Luke, there's a new Luke 4 that they make. It's a color called Grape Slushy that I just love. That
Oof.
I'm just all about the purple lately, but
I get it.
The Axis, you're right. They're so versatile with the amount of tones, right? So I don't have any that have the 5-way. So are you using positions the 2 and 4? Like, what kind of situations are you using them in?
I like it because, was a bridge, and then I guess that's 2 according to Leo, 4 to the rest of the world. But because I can go just flipping that one position, I go from Les Paul to Strat because that's you're at a phase, and then if you flip it over to the other one, I think they're in series and in phase. I can't remember. I have it written down. Fortunately, the Legend BV Ninja put it in the chat one night. This is your switching system, or he emailed me during the show. I'm like, thanks, Beeve. Because he's awesome that way. But yeah, because I thought about, and that's one of the reasons I kept it, because I thought I'm going to start another band. And when I start it, this is going to be my main guitar. Like, I just thought immediately to myself, this is probably going to be my number one guitar because it covers so much ground. Outside of deciding to play just strictly a Telly or Les Paul for the night. And that's kind of how I ended up with a humbucker Telly, was for the same reason, because I had coil tap and I could cover a ton of ground on that thing. Because it's got high output pickups similar to these. So it's like a 15K humbucker. So when you divide it, it's still like a real hot Telly pickup.
Sure. And you're kind of right. That pickup, the front pickup, is less polish, but not in a dark, muddy kind of way. More in a like you can actually hear the into each individual note. It's just kind of more buttery. Which this thing was his design, like his ears.
Right? Like most neck pickups, you think, oh, it's jazzy sounding or bluesy, that classic Les Paul, play on the 12th fret, blues scale type thing, like Slash, very full. But you do it there. No, that's Allman Brothers almost sound. Like it's got that little bit brighter. That's why I always think of it's just that more timeless sound, folks, we'll say.
Yeah, for sure. Amanda just said, but can you put your 50-cent pieces in it? So like, or your pennies in it, like the Crown Royal bags. I don't think, maybe some would fit back there. Maybe
under the control case for rattling and stuff.
Yeah.
But no.
Sometimes I just stare at this. Like
I get it.
I just look at it because like the quilt and the nitro, like I don't think I would kind of take it out as like, I definitely don't leave it out because I worry about it fading. So if I'm not playing it, I keep it in the case.
Are Music Man's Fender or Gibson scale? I want to say Fender.
I think Fender, yeah. I
want to say Fender. Because the Wolfgangs are Fender scale. So I would assume.
Right. Yeah.
But, which I didn't believe JJ when he's like, yeah, it's Fender scale. I was like, there's no way. And then we took a Telly and a Wolfgang and actually put them face to face and lined up the nuts. And I was like, holy shit, they are the same.
That's awesome.
But it's just so much more on either end. Yeah, Joe agrees. Yep, 25 and a half. There we go.
That's cool. Yeah. No, and there's something about, I don't know, like my hands aren't that big. So I think the nut width for me is really super comfortable. And you know what? Lots of people, the desirability always, of course, lies in with Edward. Like, of course, people want those guitars more. But you know what? I mean, I do wish this was there again. But I kind of like the tummy cut now. Especially I'm older, I'm bigger. I love the tummy cut. Like, it's super comfortable. And you know what? The string kind of not going over they did a fantastic job, and they've kept the design.
Right. And they've been pretty consistent. They haven't cheaped out over the years or changed the neck shape because that was the whole idea, is like they will never come out and say it, but they're like, we build them the same way or as close as we can without getting sued, essentially, which is so we'll put a 5-way switch in it. They'll move because that's by moving that switch placement. Now it's not the same guitar technically.
Sure,
it's patent level thing.
Yeah, it's a different design. Yeah, and just and the fact that these pickups are only available in this guitar, and then of course you can buy the other ones that are very close. But I think it was Steve Lukather who actually
used
said
to be
the
some
design.
Ibanez that used the Tone Zone and Air Nortons.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. And I think there's some custom order stuff that you can get. You can basically choose, and the Air Norton and the Tone Zone are the closest thing that you're going to get to these, and it's just like minuscule differences.
And
really,
the Air Norton and Tone Zone, I don't even think those were starting to be used in Ibanez till after Eddie had moved to Peavey type thing.
That would make sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Because
I wouldn't doubt if, like, DiMarzio's making these pickups for the Ernie Ball Music Man, we'll call it. Eddie moves to Peavey. All of a sudden, knew it, NAMM from DiMarzio. The pickup set known as the Air Norton and so. You're like, oh, really? Interesting, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And
I started wrapping my thumb over more too. Doing more.
That 1 5/8,
which started out just as a mute when I'd be playing on the A string or something, just mute, roll over and mute. But now it's like full Bukovac.
But even you just playing that acoustically, like you can hear how resonant that guitar is.
Yeah.
Like, you know that as soon as you plug that in, it's going to sound fantastic. Just the way that
they're pretty light. Like, I want to say they feel stratty when I do this. You know, so there's not a lot of girth. You know, they're almost as thick as a Les Paul, I want to say. But I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, not much thinner. Maybe a 1/16 of an inch or two. So that there's that familiarity without it being familiar, right? Like, that's the thing. It's very comfortable. Definitely more comfortable than a Tele.
Yeah, and I think you just get used to them. Like you mentioned the Luke guitar. The Luke, it's so interesting too, because as soon as you start play a Luke, you're like, wow, this totally makes sense. Like the soft V neck, the narrow nut width, and it's just like, oh my god. But if you got big hands, maybe it's not a thing, right? I don't know.
I remember doing a demo of a Petrucci, and it was funny because I'm playing it and it felt weird, like it needed a truss rod adjustment. So I went to check. You know, I did the old press at the first fret, hold the body joint, right, and then look.
Yep.
Well, on the bass side of the neck on a Petrucci is the fucking like 22nd fret. I'm like, you don't measure the neck really from the 22nd fret. I'm like, I guess there's some relief. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous because it's just open all the way down. I was like, this thing's ridiculous.
Yeah. The designs are, and I think, isn't the Petrucci one of the best selling signature models like out there?
I think it is, but it also has to be the most on the secondary market because, again, throughout the years of YouTube, I swear I've seen 10 people buy a Petrucci and sell it within a week or two. Right?
Didn't Jay have
several? Nezdall had one for like 2 weeks.
I didn't know Nezdall.
I'm pretty sure he had one. But that was him. This was Dave. Like, Thursday show. Okay, Ben, this is the greatest guitar ever. I will never need another guitar. I'm like, okay, Dave, that's cool. Literally 2 weeks later, I just got this, Ben. This is the best guitar ever.
Yeah, 100%.
It was funny that because Dave was, every guitar was like his new best guitar. Like, wow, what's that? I'm like, easy, buddy. You didn't even buy it, but like, what is that? I don't know what that is, especially if it's something unique and new to him or a different paint job or, I haven't seen this before. And, and the guy had such a heart of gold. Like, it was like when you jumped on here before the show, like I would do the same thing, but Dave would have the window open like I did with you, but he'd either be watching a video on another tab or on the phone. He was always on the phone. And I'd be sitting there, and he wouldn't even notice me for up to 5 minutes. All of a sudden you look over, and I give him a wave. And he's on the phone with, like, what's his name from Night Ranger? Brad Gillis.
Brad Gillis, yeah.
He was on the phone with him like every 3 weeks. Okay, Brad, talk to you. Okay, have a great gig tonight, bud. And I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, well, I reached out to him and we became friends. I'm like, of course, because that's Dave.
That was That was Dave, right? Rest in peace. Yeah, Amanda, I miss him too. Like he was so kind to me. He's actually the one who got my 5150. The kid did my 5150, but it was Dave who kind of got it all together and did this. And we would video chat, and he was just the
Which
kindest.
I was worried about because that was happening right around the time he was passing too. So
Do you know what? The third day after he passed, the kid got in contact with me and said, "I understand." You know, he said everything's on track. You just have to be patient.
well, I was worried about that, and until now, I wanted to mention it off air, obviously, because I was just like,
yeah,
what happened? Because I remember Dave telling me that you had commissioned it and stuff, and I thought,
yeah,
everything's going through Dave, and he passes. I'm like, because I
Yeah,
knew you
no.
would put a deposit down and shit, you know, like because that's business. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh no! But then I'm glad that Buddy got a hold of you.
3 days later, and I purposely didn't write. I didn't write anybody because I said, you know what? I said I will just wait, and you know what? I said if I lose my deposit, I lose my deposit because the guitars are important in our life, but they're not more important than people. So
right, and the logistics of it. If this guy literally was doing everything through Dave as the moderator, and someone passes away, well, unfortunately, that happens, and you know.
Yeah, but no, 3 days later, and then I had to wait quite a while for the guitar because George Lynch bumped me, which makes a great story for the guitar.
Right.
So the guy who made mine was making a guitar for George Lynch, and George Lynch said, "Just put that other guy's on hold." And I thought that's a great pedigree to the guy. Doesn't do it. I don't think he's doing guitars anymore, but I think actually mine was the last one of that style guitar that he did. But yeah, George Lynch basically cost me a couple months, but I think it's worth it as part of the story. But Dave was just so kind, and like you said about him, the knowledge that he just knew about guitars. But you know, the other thing about the Brad Gillis thing, that doesn't surprise me because Dave had the reputation of being able to set up a guitar better than anybody.
Truth.
Like that anybody that I've come in contact in the Van Halen world and camp, which there's been a lot of people over the last
literally people with folks. For those who don't know, this guy lived on Long Island, New York, and people would literally send their guitars from all over North America to be set up. But then he would send it back to you, and you think, well, okay, you know, like I'm in Arizona, things are going to change. Oh no, you unbox the guitar. You get Dave on the phone, and he'll walk you through it to make sure everything's okay. And if this is kind of buzzing, okay, what you're going to want to do is pull out a 4mm wrench. Now give it an eighth of a turn, loosen that truss rod, just so he'd walk you through that fine-tuned adjustment. You're like, thanks, Dave. It's playing amazing now. It's like, yep.
Absolutely.
Zach Long says, yeah. Nezdall was a very cool guy. When I told him I had diabetes, he would always ask me how I'm taking care of my diabetes.
Yeah, I always caring about people, right? Like
that's when Tom was in hospital. He was calling. Dave would call Tom in hospital. And, how you doing? You still alive? What's up, Blue Mox, by the way, and Jeff K.
Yeah,
those that have been around the world longer or the community longer, knew Dave, and
he was just so lovely, like, and just so knowledgeable. Like I thought I knew a lot. And then you just realize that he just understood it. And you're right about that guitar setup. People would actually do that. They would send their guitars from all over and then he would help them with it. And it's just amazing to know that. And the other thing too, with my guitar, he told me, he said that Dave Nezdall told me, he said, you know what we do is we order the bodies, then we order the necks. He said, we put the guitar together and we basically let it sit for 2 weeks to make sure the neck and the body work together. And if they don't, we'll start over and try different combinations.
And we build it and make sure the guitar wants to be a guitar.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the craziest line until I thought of it. And I went, yeah, because then I thought, like, watching setup videos, my buddy Dave in Toronto, Dave's World of Fun Stuff, he'd do a neck adjustment and he says, okay, now I'll come back tomorrow and check it. Because it moved and it's not the way you think it is, we'll let it sit overnight and see if it moves anymore one way or the other. And that's same idea. Let's make sure, like as he said, all it is some pieces of wood and metal. It doesn't know it's a guitar until I put it together, and then it needs to decide if it wants to be a guitar. And I went, what?
And what you just said there is exactly how Dave said it. That you just said it word for word of how he used to say it. And I remember being in a guitar store one day after he said that and playing a really resonant guitar that really just unplugged. And then I thought, is this the difference between like what people call a Wednesday guitar and a guitar that doesn't want to be a guitar or that's just dead sounding? And I thought, this is but what company would do that? Who would take the time? Right. So like Dave's mind
that's like a John Furr type thing, I would think. I can see John doing that because John still goes into the factory floor and gets his hands on every guitar before it goes out the door.
Right.
Doing little bits of finish work and stuff like that. But I can't do as well anymore because unfortunately it's been too long since I heard his voice. But I used to get Amanda all the time because if you call it, hey Chad, how you doing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
And that that just gave me goosebumps thinking about it,
Yeah.
Or like Billy said, when Jay would go to Well Strung Guitars, try having your phone when he has your phone number, and he's sitting there, two bursts and a shit-eating grin. He's like, "Look what I'm doing, Ben." I'm like, "Fuck, Dave."
Yeah, unbelievable, right? Just.
He's like, I can't talk right now, but I'm hanging out with Joe Bonamassa at Wellstrung. I'm like, yeah, I bet you are. Yeah, okay, fine.
And like people said, like everybody who met him, like just they had that same experience with him, like that he was just, so wonderful. And that's the thing about YouTube community that that's why I loved watching the videos with your dad. Like I thought, geez, these are people who care about guitars and they care about people and, the connectiveness of it all. And I guess that was really nice. And Van Halen being the common denominator for me. But then all of a sudden there's all these other things, right? And think about, that phrase that Van Halen said, I never thought a Dutch boy could cause so much ruckus. And I just love that because if you think about the lives that have changed, and I love too, like you're a Telly and a Les Paul guy, and here you are playing an Ernie Ball, and you're like, this guitar is not going anywhere. And I think there's how many small companies are there like Music Man? They sit in a bit of a different space, and I think that's what makes
like I'd say like NAMM, GNL. I would put in that group,
right?
Kind of Kiesel, maybe. Like Kiesel seems to do more, and it's more custom order. If Kiesel had more production stuff, maybe, and less custom order. But not a lot outside of the boutique world per se.
In a production line kind of factory space, I don't think there's a lot of companies like that. I
think about Nezdall now, and it's just like how he knew about all guitar. Like my first interaction was literally, I'm sitting at home bored on, let's say, a Wednesday night. Yeah, let's say a Wednesday. And I'm searching around YouTube, guitar live streams. And I found a live stream about Eddie Van Halen. And I thought, Chad, you can talk about Eddie more than anyone else because not only was he a musician, and you can talk about just as a fan of the music and the band, but then he also owned a guitar company or owns a guitar. So I thought there's that whole side of the conversation too. So I thought, wow, that would have led to it. So I clicked the link and there's these three guys, Johnny Bean, Dave Nezdall, and Jay Hannon. Didn't realize it was Jay Hannon's first show, basically. So he was
right.
New.
It was, yeah.
He had just joined, and so they talked about it, and and I think Johnny mentioned, hey, if you want to send in a picture of your guitar, there's a phone number down below. So I thought, oh fuck, okay. Well, I don't have anything other than I'll send in a picture of my old man's Telly.
Yeah,
and just see what they would have to say. I'm like, can you send in pictures? And I said that, can I send a picture of any guitar? They're like, oh yeah, whatever. So send in the photo of the Telly. Johnny holds it up, and Dave also stop the show right. Whoa, what is that? Right? He's like, what do you got there, Ben? What's the stat? So I type in the stat, 1967 Telly, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what you have there? Do you know what? That's the lowest production year. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Oh.
And immediately, boom, okay, and then I hit him up on a friend request on Facebook. And he was one of my first guests, like doing the Sunday show before it was even a Sunday show, because I worked random, like I'd had random days off at the time. So I couldn't always do a Sunday show, but it would be like a Tuesday afternoon. And it was me and Dave hanging out because I knew he's home all day. He says, yeah, you want to go live anytime, Dave? Just hit me up. Okay. So it'd be like catching up with Dave Nezdall shows and stuff, or he'd sit in on a group hang and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that kind of led to him leaving Johnny's channel, because I remember doing a show with Dave, and and they turned into kind of a general interest thing. And he got pissed off. He goes, you know what? I talked more about guitars with Ben last night in half an hour than I do in 2 fucking hours on this show. I went, uh-oh. I broke the show.
Yeah.
Oops.
But you know what? I think the key is just to do the thing that you're gonna do. Right. Like be interested in the thing that you're interested in. Find the people that will stay with you along the way, and and everybody's a part of that story too, right?
Yeah. Like he left. He did a show with Ty, and they did it for a while. And Ty was getting busy, so I would substitute host on occasion.
Yeah.
And then they had a bit of a falling out. Fortunately, they patched it up literally weeks before he passed, which is amazing.
Oh, thank goodness. That's good.
Which was awesome. But, they had a bit of falling out, and then Dave's like, I'm going to start a new show. I said, okay. He says, okay. He said, will you be my co-host? I said, glad to, Dave. He says, okay, so what do you want to do? I go, no. I said, first of all, this is your show. I don't want to be the co-host. I want to be, you're Johnny Carson, I'm Ed McMahon. Because Dave being, because of his personality, he was kind of, he had a great sense of humor, but he could also, he was great at playing the straight man, we'll say. And I said, let me be the class clown, do my thing as, the sidekick. And it was always funny because people would play it up. They're like, oh, yeah, you're this co-host. But I'm like, I got a channel 4 times the size of Dave's, type thing. But we never played it up that way because I was like, honestly, I was having just as much, if not more fun on him, because he's like, oh, we're interviewing Johnny Halen tonight. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And my only thing I ever said to him was, the only thing I'd ever want out of this is if we meet somebody on a show, we have a good rapport, and if it's okay with them, getting their contact info from you, so I can have them on my channel at a different time. And he's like, oh yeah, of course, So,
yeah,
done,
Yeah.
And it was a wild couple of years, that's for sure.
Yeah, and just the learning and the community, this is amazing. People spend time
once he started doing the Well Strung thing, and he opened it up to like not just Van Halen, and where he could talk about Les Pauls and SGs and Tellys and music, everything under the world. Then that really opened up people's eyes, too.
Yeah, and you just saw moments where he just knew so much, right? Like he just, man, he was so well versed in stuff and understanding the guitar and the like how temperature and humidity and we all have a general knowledge of how that stuff works, but his mind it was just incredible. And all of those shows, like everybody has something to offer. Like, you try a little bit of this, you try a little bit of that, and hey, I think everybody, you find your audience, you find your enthusiasm. Like if guitar is the vehicle that allows those stories to be told, and it's a win-win. Just everybody here in the chat, it's cool that you're hanging out with us.
Speaking of expanding audiences, what? It's cousin Doug. We can't hear you. You gonna turn your mic on?
Because I muted myself because I was coughing.
Oh, geez. Wait.
Sorry.
Whoa. First time ever Coombs has muted himself. I'm just saying. So Doug heard you were coming on, Chad, and he's like, hey, you better be talking about Sydney. And I said, well, I've only been there once. He said, I got this.
Even the music scene there.
Okay, yeah.
Because him is absolutely clueless on the music scene in Sydney.
Yeah, it's quite vibrant. There's a wide scope of things.
And apparently Matt unsubbed as a result of you showing up. Perfect.
Sorry. He has never been to Daniels.
And you know what? I'm proud to say Daniels is still the live music venue, and there's a new owner, and the person has embraced it, and it's the live music place. So
he has never been to the Capri Club.
The cabaret is still going.
I wasn't old enough to get into any of these places when I was there.
Interesting.
Not that never stopped anyone from getting into a venue in Sydney.
Do not get into semantics here, okay?
Well, all three of us at some point should be back in Sydney, and we'll go to Daniels and we'll go to the Capri.
He doesn't want to go.
My father was the one guy in Sydney who didn't drink. I swear.
I don't really drink that much now,
but no, the music scene in Sydney is big, and I'm not even sure if he knows it, but even my mom's side of the family, from Sydney, big music there. So
100%. Yeah, there's always something on the go.
Because you will know when I say that she is a Peters from Myra Road. That's music. That's music everywhere there.
100%. Yeah, and Myra Road is about 3 minutes from right just out that window. Right? It's crazy to think.
Hey, Amanda. Yeah, just up George Street.
You got her.
Yeah, he knows.
I know.
See,
I was doing some other family stuff. I even wanted to wear my Steel City T-shirt that I had.
Man, you're hitting all the spots.
Damn. Because I even like I was telling
about, I did prep for a show.
I even did prep work because I can even talk about seeing Tempted at the Steel City.
Wow!
And their guitarist LG McLean. Oh, sorry, LJ McLean. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive. I saw Tempted on at a private party a couple of years ago on a deck, and it was pretty impressive.
I seen a band on a deck once. It wasn't that impressive.
I've been on a band. I've been in a band on a deck, and it wasn't impressive.
The guitar player was kind of iffy. Yeah. And it was a family.
Can you show that photo?
But no, because then even like you say, a band like Tempted, because LJ McLean also is with the Privateers as well.
Sure, yeah.
Which is another great band, and then Tempted is also another Myra Road guy, being Troy Oakley.
Right. Yes.
I know more than him.
And Sam Moon and all that.
I only knew one guy that gigged in and around Sydney. All right. Stuart Cameron. Because if we're going to name drop, I'm going to fucking name drop, Doug.
No one gets paid. That's correct. That is correct.
Another guy.
And Tom.
Billy has a question for you, Doug. Have you ever used acoustic guitars as cornhole boards?
Never had the chance.
The hole's about the same size. It might go through, though.
Don't think that one will work.
Amanda says she just messaged Stuart. All right. Why?
Because and then another guitarist who would go and do those mic nights at all those are doing the circuit. All the bars are quite close. Is Andrew Doyle.
Yes, yeah, Andrew Doyle. Yeah, I saw him in Long Quaid last week. He was buying a pack of strings because he's a working musician. He's out gigging all the time.
I know that guy, don't I? No, I'm thinking Alan Doyle.
Yeah, and you don't even know him.
Oh yeah, well, Pete Thornton took this photo of me. Just saying.
That's cool,
right? That's how you get your phone to blow up while you're asleep. Is Pete Thornton takes a photo of you, adds it to his stories on Instagram, and all of a sudden you wake up the next day. Why are you in Pete Thornton's Instagram story? I'm like, I'm in Pete Thornton's Instagram story. Trying to find the infamous picture, Doug. But
then, no music scene in Sydney area would be complete without talking about Karaoke Phil. Because although he has a great time, the people that follow him around do not give you a great time.
Doug, you definitely have done your Sydney research, my friend.
I have seen all of these bands, all these people in person.
Wow, you're in the know there. That's
not the photo on the deck you were thinking of, was it?
No.
All right.
There is another photo deck.
Karaoke Philly. I saw him probably a month ago at Boston Pizza.
How do you get the photos now on Facebook?
most of the time when I've seen Karaoke Phil, is the nights that after maybe a member or two have got their money and they all come down to have fun, and then that's
Yeah.
there's some interesting people that show up then.
Apparently, Trev's lasagna is ready.
The music scene here is quite incredible. Like it is. It's very accessible to see a lot of different things, like everything from rock bands to Celtic and fiddle music and traditional, and there's just a lot of different things.
Yeah, because I still remember my favorite concert of all has been in Cape Breton, St. Anne's, the Gaelic College up at St. Anne's.
Yep.
Seeing and Ben's gonna with this here, but seeing
I'm rolling my eyes, Doug. Go ahead.
Seeing Great Big Sea, Slaw Shiva, who's the Barry McNeil's kids, right, with the backdrop of Kelly's Mountain.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And it's the one time that I did not bring my dad along with me when we went to that show because he was friends with the Barry McNeils, and they apparently had a party afterwards that about 4:00 in the morning.
I'm just laughing because I remember when he became friends with the Barry McNeils. He's all name dropping Dad's name, and they're like, "Who?" I'm like, "Oh, right, yeah, the guy in Ontario." Because Dad being involved with the union, that's how the union guy. He's like, "No, the musician." They're like, "Agree to disagree." Zach Dong says, in high school, I did my co-op placement at Long McQuaid.
Okay, so
I tried to do mine at a music store. They wouldn't let me. Because they're like, you mean the music store where your dad just hangs out with all of his friends all day? Yes. Where they sit around and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes? Yes.
So, Terry in the chat, right, just said that I would be just cool enough to have Stompin' Tom Connor's autograph a Garth Brooks CD. Let me talk to you about that, Terry. Let me talk about that because
Terry's actively trolling you.
Yeah, but guess what, Terry?
Found the photo.
Back at you. Oh, there's the photo right there. Yeah, look at that family reunion. I have to look at that.
Yeah, well, the burn stash, right? That's what he's talking about.
How high am I playing on the neck?
I'm just saying. I just realized that. Like for a Martin guitar, you don't play up there. Well, yeah, when there's no monitor and Steve Harris has to put his fucking foot up. Yeah. The worst part is, Doug knows, it was all 80-year-olds sitting right in front of us.
I was just going to say,
we're going to sit there in the front so we can hear you. We're like, there was a PA system. They didn't know what a PA system was, clearly. He's like, no, you have acoustic guitars. We won't hear you. I'm like, oh, I think you will.
Yeah. So getting back to Terry's comment there.
Yep.
When I was very young, probably less than a year, probably a couple months old, 6 months old, at a concert.
That photo.
Huh?
I think you took that photo.
No, I didn't. That was Karma got you there.
Oh, okay. Literally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He was real.
When I was that young, concert here at the old Waterloo Arena, I got the old Kissing Baby thing, Stompin' Tom, right about there, because ready for this? I'm going to name drop Cape Breton again. My dad growing up was hung around and did road stuff for a band called the Legionnaires, which featured the Lewis twins.
I was going to say, I had Legionnaires once. What?
Those Lewis twins then went on to play in the Carlton Show Band, right? The one, Billy Lewis, one of the twins, was the guitar player for Stompin' Tom.
That's very cool.
Tom, who's not actually from Cape Breton.
No, but his guitar player was.
Which one? That man went
the one that in the
famous Horseshoe documentary.
In the Horseshoe Tavern, yeah. Billy's got the mutt. He's playing on his right side.
Right.
I actually knew that he was.
I just say that because I remember I was working at a call center in the early 2000s, and was talking music with an older gentleman, Gary. I remember his name was. He was about 20 years older than me, and a little short guy, and we're talking. He said, "Yeah, I used to gig." I'm like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I played bass for Stompin' Tom for a number of years," and all I could think of was, "What did you do in life to make life choices that you're now working next to me in a call center after work for Stompin' Tom for a number of years?" He's like, "Yeah, it was a gig. We were busy, a lot of drinking." I'm like, "I bet."
Stompin' Tom. That Horseshoe Tavern is quite cool. gig.
I've never been in. I've walked by it numerous times, but I've never been in or gigged at. I wanted to gig there though so bad. I was like up there, right under Massey Hall in Toronto.
Now, where's El Macombo in relation to the Horseshoe? Like, where are they?
I want to say same street, but blocks. Like that street, Queen West, is like it's a long street because I walked it, got off the wrong stop once. But there's like I'm going to say 20, 30 city blocks, and every block there's at least one bar. Speaking of which, a bar I used to play at just shut down, Velvet Underground, which is also on Queen Street. There used to be more bars on Yonge Street traditionally in the 60s and 70s, even into the 80s, but most of them all got shut down by then, and then it became Queen, and even now Queen's getting gentrified quite a bit. But the Elmo, I believe, is right on Queen, and it got totally redone.
Was it not right down by Much Music or Much Music where it was?
Much Music was at the corner of Queen and John, 299 Queen West.
Right.
I remember because even after they left there, the Speaker's Corner still worked for a while, and I'm like, yeah, but who's going to see it? Is that on a website now? What's up, D. White Bailey?
Because El Macombo was where the famous Steve Ray Vaughan gig was, wasn't it?
Stevie Ray, the Stones, April Wine.
Stones, right.
Now the smart thing, yes, Chad, you know the Canadian music scene, how we're a fractional the size of the American or world scene, where there's not a lot of money, is what I'm saying. So the Stones were playing at the Elmo, and they had the mobile recording unit, right, and stuff, and because they're making the live album live at the Elmo, blah blah, blah. Somebody Steve Ray. So they had an opening act that night, April Wine. So Miles, being the smart man, ran down, bought himself some tape, said to the boys in the truck, well, if you're going to record the Stone set, Miles will record our set too. And so he got a live album done really on the cheap, essentially.
With the Stones recording unit.
Exactly.
Mobile recording unit.
Yeah, wow. And then you just take those tapes, to any studio to mix down whatever. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I know. And I'm like, it's so Canadian to do. Since they're here.
Yeah, might as well. That's super. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the opening. April 1.
Since then, that stage had got moved because I think it was originally they were on the main floor. Then it got moved upstairs to the venue got moved upstairs. But what they did was they took some of the wood from the original stage and incorporated it into the new stage. So you're still playing the same quote unquote stage. And then around the time of COVID, because it had shut down, it was getting reopened. But before they reopened, they hired Eddie Kramer to come in and redo the sound system. But he went one above. Not only did they do in-house sound quality PA system, including mics hanging from ceiling to mic the crowd, they also incorporated, I want to say, about a dozen cameras that would be a remote. So basically, you can shoot a concert DVD there, no problem. Like start to finish. I was just like, that's awesome. Speaking of awesome, what's up, Dave? He sent $5 because he did. Appreciate it.
That's great.
Nice. Yeah, when I read about it, I'm like, Eddie Kramer, of all people, doing it too. And he spent like 2 years setting that up. And yeah, you just have the control room. One guy runs sound, another guy can run video, and just.
Wow.
That's great if you want. Probably if you want to say shoot a music video there, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow.
But I never hear of anybody ever playing the Elmo, so I don't know who plays there, but it's there.
And the Horseshoe's still going. It was there last time.
Still going. I saw who's playing the Horseshoe. Rusty was playing the Horseshoe not too long ago.
Oh yeah, Rusty. Yeah.
I want to say because they're back together, kind of part-time thing.
I think is it the singer that has a Nova Scotia connection? He's from Kentville.
It's possible. He's lived in Sudbury for the last number of years. Bricklayer in Sudbury by day, singer of 90s alternative band Rusty by night. Yeah, sad. Yeah. You want to know the music scene? If you ever see the Anvil movie, it's like that for every band. Every band, basically. Like, every band has a day job now. Like, unless you're like Bryan Adams money, you're working a day job. Mo Berg does a retro night as a DJ at a club on Queen Street on Tuesday nights. He does 80s retro night where he's DJing.
Really?
Yeah. I want to say Patrick from Sloan used to host an open mic night at a bar in Toronto weekly.
Yeah, and I think during COVID he was doing like Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats or something. I think
I would not doubt it. Again,
but like, this is an interesting thing to kind of think about. Like, people talk about the music business, but I don't think the music business exists anymore.
Not really. No.
Like, because I mean, you talk about the '90s. Like, remember how vibrant, like, I Mother Earth, Sloan.
There was an infrastructure. Now, again, a lot of that is smoke and mirrors, I will say. You know, you get a video on Much Music. Wow, you know, I see on Much Music all the time. You're on the big shiny tunes, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but you're getting paid cents every time your video is played, you know, type thing. Like, you can have a big hit. Like, I remember, I want to say in the late 80s. Now, folks, a Juno Award is the Canadian equivalent of a Grammy. Now, around 86, 87, even into 88, hey, Eddie Van Haskell, my dad was telling me that, like, because he knew a few connections in the industry, and it's not that big an industry. Literally, everybody knows everybody. Right. At that time, for $1 million, you will end up with a Juno nomination in whatever category you record the song in for $1 million. So that basically gets you to a Grammy nod, folks. Now, probably in the U.S. it would obviously cost more to do it because it's a larger, dense country, blah, blah, blah. But for $1 million, that was included, you know, recording a song, whether you wrote it or you got, you know, Dan Hill, master songwriter, writing for you, or whoever else, you know, given a song. Go in, you got the producer, you got the hired guns recording it, you know, a video made, heavy airplay on radio, heavy airplay on Much Music. You're automatically going to chart to a certain extent just by market saturation. I'm looking at you, Steal My Sunshine. You know, you hear it enough, then it gets stuck in your head. Sure. Everybody knew that song as soon as they said it. Yeah, so that was, for $1 million. CSS, that would get you, it wouldn't get you a win. Now, if it's good, you probably will get the win, but that would at least get you to a point of nomination status, which chances are, if you're nominated as Best Rock Song, you're probably also going to get nominated for Best New Artist. If you're new to the scene.
Yeah. Good night, Amanda. Yeah, it just, I just think, like, it must be so difficult for, like, who is in their garage now saying, okay, we're gonna, like, get a van, like, the cost of fuel.
My niece's boyfriend, he's got a band. He's teenager. He's got a band, which I was quite happy to hear.
That's cool.
Yeah. Now they got one of those Cookie Monster vocalists, so you know. We shall see. But it was interesting. Like, I was gigging the original music scene up until, because I saw the notice came out with. Apparently, I quit in August of the year, Doug. In 2016, I quit August of 2016. The original band. It was interesting. Yeah, the bills would be either bands with guys around my age, your age to my age, you know, where once the kids were old enough to either take care of themselves or have your, you know, wife's cool. Yeah, go out and have your dad band. You know, like basically dad bands even doing original music, we'll say, or teenagers. There was nobody between the age of, let's say, 26 and 40 you know, in a band. That demographic doesn't exist. That there was no. Some of them would come out to shows and watch, and may have played in shows as teenagers and stuff, but giving it up because they got young kids, what have you. Life gets in the way, what have you. But then, like I say, then they get back into it. And there was a real surge about 15 years ago in this area for that. There was live shows almost every weekend where you go and see anywhere from 3 to 6 original acts, a couple out-of-towners involved. And I did the same thing. That's how I was, you know, playing in Toronto Doug knows, every couple of, because it always worked out at Doug's schedule. He never got to come out to see us play because he was always working whenever, because he's only an hour outside of the city. So it would have been great. You know, you come in from opposite direction, boom. You know, or the amount of time it was my buddies from high school would come, I'm just seeing your Facebook status now. You know, fuck, I would have come out and seen you last night. Hope you had a good gig. There's one place was just around the corner. Guy from high school. You pop in. He's like, "This is awesome." It was around the corner, and he lived just down the block, and that was his little watering hole he'd walk down to for a beer after dinner. He's like, "I can't believe you're playing here." I'm like, "Well, someone's got to play here."
But like, even just hauling amps or getting like you talk about the music scene in Sydney. The challenging part is that if you do find a place that will pay, the most you're going to get is like $100 a guy. I mean, this is Weekend Warrior cover band status, if that. But like at the same time too, like your gas, the price of gas and hauling amps and like
assuming all your gear is paid for, you've already invested the thousands in gear to start with. And the sad thing is, literally, like that's one of the reasons I stopped gigging, because I was literally making the same money playing the same bars as my dad did 40 years earlier for the same paycheck.
Yeah.
But the difference was also with today's technology, you'd have a merch table, especially with the original music. So you got CDs, you got T-shirts, you got, so there's a chance to, make money there, and chances on a decent night, you're matching whatever the venue's paying for the night. Or especially, like that's how we were able to do it, was we'd show up, and it was always the fucking bass player that booked those Toronto gigs. And we find out, we're playing the Rock Pile, which is a pretty big venue in Toronto. I can't remember who just played there the other night. A buddy of mine was there at a show. But like George Lynch plays there when he comes through Toronto. It's a club. And so we're like, oh, cool. We're playing the Rock Pile. Right on. We're headlining. Okay, because we're out of town. But we find out no, we're not actually playing the Rock Pile. An indie promoter has sublet the Rock Pile for the night. And so it's indie night, so you don't have the promotion of the Rock Pile behind it. So, and we're like, we're playing for a third of the door, and this place is not that sparsely packed because we're at the west end of Toronto, where we have no following, because literally, if you're popular downtown Toronto, doesn't mean you're popular in the west end or the east end or the north end, because it's such a big city. I get it, because like if you want to drink, we're going to take TTC. We're going to take the bus and the subway or whatever. Do you want to ride the bus and subway for 45 minutes each way to a venue, or an hour? Depending on where you're coming in from. No,
with gear,
right?
Like, yeah.
Free drinks are illegal, Mike. So what we would get is the promoter would buy us around, basically. So we had free drinks, but we didn't have free drinks. And when I hated those, because I always like the bass player. You fucked us up again. We're playing for gas money at best. Hope we sell a bunch of merch so we can at least cover our food as well as gas.
Yeah.
And I remember showing up the Rock Pile, and I'm like, so where's the green room? They're like, we don't have a green room. I'm like, bullshit. You have a green room. No, we don't. I was like, yeah, you do. Like the promoter, I'm like, you're new here, aren't you? You're not the actual. I'm like, go ask the bar staff where the green room is, because I was like, I knew like George had played there just a couple of weeks earlier, and I'm like, he ain't hanging out at a table.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
He's got to be. And I knew, Doug, it was an old Mother's Pizzeria, and Mother's Pizzeria has always had the banquet room in the back for birthdays,
and that's the green room,
right? And I shit you not, Chad. We walked to the back because I'm looking at this building. I'm like, this place looks really familiar. And then somebody's like, yeah, it used to be a Mother's Pizzeria. I'm like, that's it. And then it's like, I knew the layout. I'm like, washrooms are going to be there. Yeah. We walked to the door. That's the banquet room, which was great because right outside that was the door to the patio where we could go outside and smoke. So perfect. We go in there. They got a bunch of big screens. They give you a special menu because you're playing there, which is basically staff pricing, which was nice. Food was good. Crowd wasn't. Starting to snow. I'm like, oh shit.
My gigging days have been over for probably about 10 years, but it's just the late nights. I don't think I could do the late nights now.
Well, certain lifestyle choices help with that, but again, cuts into the budget then, Doug.
Well, like as you're saying that, because I remember, family who would go to bigger shows when they go to Sydney.
Yeah,
right? You talk about the late nights is back when Smooth Herman's was going, and that would bring the big names in, right?
Yep.
And for people going out on those nights, the big name at Smooth Herman's wouldn't come on until like midnight.
Yeah, it was a late show. Yeah.
right? It was always a late show.
Oh yeah.
And so
Always.
now, since I've noticed that since Smooth Herman's has left, you don't really get as many big names coming through there anymore.
No, because that was the hot spot because they
Yep.
would play like all week, wouldn't they? Like they would
Yep.
have the stint.
Right.
Yeah,
Which was great
there's
because as a
no-
band, you would do rehearsals during the day, working on new material, and then you could play it either that night or by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Especially back in the day, because new music was coming out all the time. So if there's a hot new song on the radio, even your original band, people want to hear it. And if you throw it out there and you're like, that song just dropped last week, and they're already playing it on stage, look at these guys, you know.
Yeah, and then not having to set up your gear, which is great.
I was gonna say, I think the only big name that actually never showed that was supposed to be there was Vanilla Ice, who canceled his show at the Center 200 at one point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know Brian Adams played the Sydney Academy.
Yes, that's a very
back in the day,
famous...
and I remember 13-year-old me wishes he would have known then what he knows now, because going down there one time, family trip, we got there like 4:00 in the afternoon, and my cousins, who were a couple years older than me, we'll say that, maybe more, we're all going to a concert that night, and one of their friends couldn't go, so they had an extra. And they're like, "Do you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I really want to go." And it was at the Coxheath Arena.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Put in the old Coxheath Arena, and this is like mid '80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
All females wanted me to go with them, and I was like, I don't want to be like the only guy going there. Turns out it was Corey Hart. So yes, I would have been like the only guy with like a ton of females.
Yeah. Idiot. This is my idiot cousin, folks. Idiot.
Yeah, bad decision there. Bad decision.
Yeah. And that would have been 1987. Just saying.
Like, the Sunglasses at Night were just it was that tour.
Wow.
Well, actually, I would have been around 85 then.
Yeah, and the Coxheath Arena is
It was
not
11.
very. It was pretty hot there that night. I guess
12,
it was like
11 or 12
everywhere. But
even if the tour went into 86, I'm going to be generous. You know, say even in 86. So
this would have been like the fall, like August, September.
Wow.
But
you're right. Like even the Capri, apparently there was like the Hip had played the Capri a bunch of times. Bare Naked Ladies, because they're on their way to Newfoundland, right? So there'd be a Friday show
to cover the cost of the ferry.
Yeah,
100%.
Again,
I do have
Canadian,
to
and you're
say,
cheap. If there's a way to pay for a hotel for the night, you found it.
I do have to say, and Ben knows this, and people will say I'll lose my Canadian card over this here, but because we're both not fans of the Hip live.
Hey, I like 4 of the members.
Okay. I did see the Hip once, and we left after like 4 songs. Just because it sounded like they were like an AM radio. But Rock the Dock one night, a concert topped that one for being absolutely horrible. Nazareth played there.
Okay, yeah.
They really need the lip sync.
It was that bad.
You can't hit those notes. And it was just,
I just remember when you were at the Hip show, and he's like, I'm at a Hip show. I'm like, enjoy. The Tragically Hip, Tom, which are an iconic Canadian band. I was like, where were you when the last Hip show happened? I'm like, watching a rain delay at Bristol with Doug. We were watching the Bush series rain delay at Bristol.
Yeah, because that lineup that day that we've seen
remember, you're like, the Hip's coming on, you're like, wow, Gord's really off key. I was like, yep. He's like, no, I don't think his monitors are working. I'm like, they're working. He goes, no way he can sing that much off key if his monitors are working. And Doug has a working understanding of a stage because he's been to a lot of live shows and such, and Osmosis. And I'm like, no, they're working, Doug. He's that terrible live. I'm just saying.
Because the 2 bands before them that came on sounded fine as the last time, because it was the Watchmen.
Oh yeah,
Great Big Sea, and then the Tragically Hip were coming on, and I'm like, I've seen, I had just seen the Watchmen play. They played at my work. We had 3 nights. We had Watchmen, Trouble Charger, and then Sloan. Played 3 nights in a row for the university stuff. But
all right, I know the bass player from the Watchmen. Trouble Charger, I insulted one of their band members. And then Yeah, I thought honestly, I thought I was talking to one of the Treble Charger roadies, Chad. I was backstage at this festival that Treble Charger was headlining. Let's say, give or take 10 years ago, ish, maybe a little less. No, yeah, about that. And so I've seen the Gears backstage, and it was cool because it was at this amphitheater in Park downtown. And the local RV place donated half a dozen trailers, so all the bands got a trailer to hang out in. So we all feel like rock stars. And I was playing bartender for the host band that was also putting on the show and stuff. That's how I got backstage and for free and help move gear around. So I'm talking outside about pedals because I'm a pedal guy, and we're talking about the carbon copy delay from MXR, right? And the guy's like, "Oh, I've never heard of it." And what are you new? Like, I'm like, it's the industry standard for analog delays. Like everybody's heard of the MXR carbon copy.
Yeah.
And I think the Bright version had just come out or something. But like I had one, my best friend had, like everybody had a carbon copy it seemed. Right? And he's like, no, I never heard of it. And I literally said, like, I looked at him and I said, like, what are you new? And he shrugged and kind of walked it off. Fast forward a couple hours, Treble Chargers wrapping up their set, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, fuck me, that's the guy, right? Like the main singer, front man. And I'm like, oh, shit. So they end their set, and I go over and I look at his pedal board, nothing but boutique. And by boutique, most of it was just a box that was hand-painted, hand-written knob, descript, like boutique, handmade, like boutique. I'm like, yeah. And he got close by to it. Ah, no wonder you ever heard of carbon copy. You got like real pedals and stuff. And he just started laughing because I thought I gotta humble myself a bit here because like ooh, touche. And plus I'm watching their set, and I was like, all right, this song's all right. This song because I never really got into them. I knew of them, but it was just again in the '90s that wash of Canadian music was so much industry from Much Music pushing everybody. That it got to the point you almost had to just pick what bands to listen to because there's so much of it out there. Yep. And the whole time I'm like, it's all right. It's all right. I'm like, don't recognize this song. They did a great cover, Radar Love, I remember. That was cool. And then finally, I think they did American Psycho. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's why I know you guys. Right. Fuck.
I was just gonna say, like, I probably wouldn't know any of their songs. If you say, but then you just said American Psycho, and I was like, okay, yeah, there's that song.
Yeah, and that was big.
But there's so many bands from that time, and they almost all sounded alike as well. All sounded and looked alike.
But you know what? The Watchmen kind of had their own sound. I love the Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
Like one of my favorite Canadian bands, actually.
What with them? It was Ken Tizard, their bass player, was playing the same festival earlier a year. And I was with the girlfriend at the time. One of the few times she was ever fucking right in her life, Doug. I will give her credit for this because hanging out with my future bass player, Larry. I just knew him as a local bass player and friend of mine at the time. We hadn't played together yet. And so we're hanging out. I'm thinking about leaving. It's getting kind of late. And then it's like, oh, who's up next? I'm like, Ken Tizard from the Watchmen. I was like, I'm going to listen to stereo? Like, what the fuck? It's the bass player from the Watchmen. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not sure. And she said, well, give it a chance. So we walk backstage, start smoking a joint because it wasn't legal yet. So we had to go someplace where, I'm like, well, we'll just go backstage. That's not public. And so we're there and guy comes over, bums a lighter from me. Turns out it's Ken because his band smoking a joint before they go on stage. I'm like, oh, okay, which I didn't realize. I just thought I didn't know who the guys were or anything. So we all kept. And he gets up, and for sound check, he started doing the gospel song, This Little Light of Mine. Okay. On a pedal steel guitar with a Phase 90 running.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, well, I'm sticking around to hear where this goes. Yeah. And it was his side project, which was called Ken Tizard's Bad Intent, pedal steel rock and roll. And it was just kind of this rootsy, tragically hip John Mellencamp type set. but with a pedal steel, sometimes with a telly, mostly a pedal steel, through a full pedal board. And I'm a huge pedal steel guy. So I'm just like, this is amazing. And then by the end of his set, I'm like, I want your CD, I want your t-shirt, I want your bumper sticker. How else can I support you? And it turns out he lives half an hour from me, north, locally.
He's got a YouTube channel where he streams
Whiskey Wednesday.
I've watched a few. They're pretty good.
He and
Very
I
rootsy.
Getting him on a show here, that was years ago. Actually, I think it was before he was even doing Whiskey Wednesdays. And it just, for whatever reason, fell through. I should reach out to him again. And then he's got the whole, him and Ian Thornley were family for a period of time.
Yeah, big rat.
Ian was married to his sister. Yes, Christine. Who had the cooking show on the CBC. Small world, Doug. Small fucking world.
Well, I was just kind of thinking another East Coast artist being Matt Anderson. Have you seen him play live?
I have, yeah.
No, but Ben, have you seen him play live?
Who live?
Matt Anderson.
Oh, yeah. Several times.
I wasn't sure if you'd seen him or not. Okay. Because I'd seen him at Rock the Dock. Oh, I know he's your friend, but I remember.
Well, not my more dad's friend than mine.
Yeah, yeah, that year that I seen Rock the Dock was the first night was Matt Anderson was a headliner. Nazareth was night 2. Night 3 was Kim Mitchell.
Okay. He played an Axis for the early part of the 2000s to bring that back to the Ernie Ball Axis. A red one, in fact. Might even have been a hardtail. Which is strange to think about, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Zach Thong says Our Lady Peace is one of my favorite Canadian bands.
Yeah, there was a time there, when it was, the 90s, I Mother Earth, Moist Sandbox.
Which I always thought Moist was the ultimate irony. A word that no woman wants to say, but they were told chick band.
Sloan.
Just saying.
Yeah, I remember when I seen Sloan play because, like I said, they were at the venue where I worked, so we were able to go kind of by their dressing room. We were talking with them, and
they used to play around here.
And yeah, they did not hang out before the show. There was a little bit of a, I don't like your lifestyle, so I'm not going to be hanging with you. And one of the members just kind of hung outside the dressing room and just shot the shit with us for like half an hour.
I remember I felt so bad. The year after Trouble Charger played this indie fest, Gob was the headliner the next year. And again, I was looking for a place to go smoke a joint. So I was walking off with the girlfriend. And she's like, we're going to stick around for Gob, right? I said, honestly, I wouldn't know a member of Gob if he walked right into me. I looked up, and I damn near walked into a member of Gob. And I only knew it was him because it was the guy with the fucking faux hawk. And I wouldn't have recognized him without the faux hawk. And he looked so forlorn, is the word. He was like, I'm like, what? You're a poser version of Blink-182. What the fuck? You know it. I know it. What are you going to do? Give up the grudge?
But a lot of those guys probably just have day jobs too, eh? Now, like that must be what they do.
Most of them do. It's interesting. Like Trouble Charger, the main front man, like they do one-off shows here and there, but really it's just him and the other guitar player and two guys named Who, which is usually the case, hired guns. And then, but the main dude, he was the manager for Sum 41 for their whole career.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
When I saw the Northern Pikes play a few years ago, they were down a member, and it turns out the guy who didn't play became a contractor, and he was basically building a subdivision, and so he couldn't leave because he was building like a 12-unit subdivision or something, and he was like overseeing that, and he couldn't put the people in place to look after it. So I'm like, wow, so he's active that way. It's not just like I own a construction firm. They play on weekends. But then there's other people that still kind of live the rock and roll lifestyle. And I'm like, yeah, your spouse works. That's how you do that.
Yeah, it must be. But the Joey Serlin from The Watchmen, he's an extremely successful music producer for music for films and TV and stuff like that. Like, so he owns like studios in Ontario and Vancouver, and they do like soundtrack work, and like he's actually successful in the music industry. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was Cool Tunes Made Easy. Just joined us in the chat, saying hey.
Oh, cool.
I still remember.
I know Moberg from the Pursuit of Happiness. His wife works for the Toronto School Board and has for a long time. So
okay,
that's how he avoids day work. Like I say, the Sloan guy, but most of them live pretty like nobody's living in a mansion outside of Toronto.
No, God, no.
But like yeah, a lot of them have apartments, downtown Toronto. Like the Sloan guys, like I follow a lot of them on social media and or friends on Facebook, and they're still living like teenagers essentially. Which there's nothing wrong with that, Hell, I'm kind of doing the same thing, so I get it.
Yeah.
But most of them, there's a combined income or something like, and they still get some money because there is still terrestrial radio play, less on the streaming services, but radio stations still pay to a certain extent. So there is that. And if you invested your money well, right? Like if it didn't go up your nose back in the day, not that a Canadian band could ever afford a Coke habit, because again, we don't have hookers and blow money. I'm just saying, 1/10 the size of the country, so it's 1/10 the money for a hit single.
I still kind of laughed at the odd time Helix will have like a reunion kind of thing here in town.
My God, they've had more reunion shows than fucking Kiss.
Okay, let me finish.
They've retired so many times. Go ahead.
Okay. Because they formed and they used to play at the practice at the high school that I went to, well before my time. But now when they do like some reunion stuff around here, they'll do like 5 different sets with all the different lineup that they've had who are still around.
Because they've had 30 guitar players.
Because the original bassist lives over there, 2 streets over from me. I actually coached his son in hockey. I had, if you,
I remember you pointing him out to me at your father's visitation.
Yeah, and I like, and even better, like, if you looked at him, you were like, yeah, you're not a rock guy.
No,
but he was their bassist, and he said, you know what, I'm going to do the family thing, like 6 months before they hit it big.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that was same as what was Goo Goo Dolls. Goo Goo Dolls, like, because they had like 3 or 4 albums out before they broke, which I liked because I liked them back then. And then NAMM took off, and the drummer had basically quit the band after the recording because he's like, I gotta work, like I need money, So he became construction contractor or something like that. NAMM broke big. Hey, we're going out on tour, blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, I'm good. Especially because he realized, and then the way they went with once they broke big with they used to be much more a punky rock band, and they went very wussy chick bandy.
But they got a famous song on a soundtrack. I think that's what really made them the money in the name. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, ugh. He was like, yeah, I'm good. He's like,
but not everybody would want that life, like.
But it's not an easy life. Like, if you're not a good sleeper, try sleeping on a moving bus every fucking night. Or if you're lucky, a bus, more likely a van until you're headlining, and maybe hotel rooms here. Like, you got to learn, grab naps when and where you can. Like, it's whether I'm glad I never had to tour because Doug knows, like, we drive back and forth Charlotte area. I can't sleep in a moving vehicle.
I can.
He can't, yeah. So I will drive until I cannot drive anymore, and then I'm like, that's it. Until my eyes are shot, which is usually all through the night. And try because I go in the musician mode where it's like, all right, it's that post gig mode. I'll hit 3 a.m. I'm like, well, I'm up till 7 now.
Yeah, I can't. I could never sleep after gigs. I'd have to have a couple hours of wind down time.
Yeah, starved and wired.
Yeah, true.
You know, I remember I come home from a gig, I could eat like a Thanksgiving dinner. Just be famished. Because I realized too, because I never ate a lot really before a gig. And I always had nerves if I was playing a venue for the first time. For whatever reason, I had this weird idiosyncrasy that I was half a basket case if I was playing a venue for the first time. But as soon as I returned there again, I cool as a cucumber. For whatever reason, it's just the way it was. So quite often, I'd eat a light dinner before load in at, say, 7 p.m. And you might not even be going on stage till 11 or midnight. And the next thing you know, it's 3 in the morning. You're like, wow, I haven't eaten in like 9 hours and expended a lot of energy.
Yeah. I find I did a couple of 10 fill-in spots last summer for a band, just filling in for the guitar player was away. And I found I had to drink Gatorade after the show. I mean, I'm getting older, so. Oh, yeah, but I drank Gatorade, and it was like magic. It was almost like about 30 minutes after I drank the Gatorade, I felt like a different person. I was like, wow.
Actually, ironically enough, when I got off stage for years, I always had a bottle of an Ensure in my backpack.
Okay.
And just boom, because I gulped that down. I'm like, yes, because I know there's calories, protein, nutrients, not something other than beer, basically. So my body's like, yay, something other than beer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gigging 25 years ago. I remember you used to get beer. They would give you beer. Like now, that's over now.
Private parties now.
Yeah, true.
I found that was the way to get. It was weird. Like I saw it as a step backwards. Like here, like getting into my 40s, and I'm like, oh, we got offered this house party. We don't want to play a fucking house party. I'm not a kid.
Yeah.
But then you go, yeah, it's a house party, Chad. But it's a guy who's like our age. He's having a pig roast. He's factory workers decide, nope, we're hiring a band because we can. The neighbors are all invited, so there's no worries about noise. Like I still remember one of the best ones we ever did was north of town here. We got the Trent River, and so it's all like cottages along the river, and it was like 4 neighbors in a row all got together to do a pig roast, and we ate like kings, and then we were playing all night in a cover band. It was classic rock covers, female singer. They loved it. And then the drummer's like, hey, Ben, you got any extra beer? I ran out. I'm like, no worries. Walked up, I'm like, anybody got a beer? And all you see is like 7 hands come out of darkness. Like, there we go.
That's pretty good.
Well, if you guys want, you got to get in the cornhole scene if you want free beer. Because I could have that whenever I go do live feeds. I could have free beer all day. People wanting I'm like, I gotta talk. Like I have to walk around with
similar to the rock and roll business, Doug. The cornhole business has a thing in common. It's called alcoholism, folks. Yeah, performance enhancing beverages, both for rock guitar players and cornhole players.
Yep. So, speaking of that, you gonna come to Niagara Falls for my birthday?
Who, me? You're talking to Chad.
I'm talking to you.
I don't know.
Might be a little ways for me.
Maybe. Why? What?
Well, I'm there for the weekend, so I could use the sound guy.
Oh, I hate doing sound. You know that.
I usually had to spend my birthday with you, your birthday with you.
Hey, I hated having to spend my birthday with you. No, I didn't. I remember the one where it was on the Sunday.
All I ever do is just take videos of you.
And all I said the one birthday I enjoyed was it was on a Sunday. That was the year that Karma and Grayson were down with us.
Yep.
It happened to fall on that Sunday after the All-Star race, and everybody was clearing out. And you're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, nothing. And I just sat in that infield and drank and got high. And then they started the ride-alongs. And I'm like, Doug, what? Take my credit card. Because I'm thinking I could go out, do a few laps, and I started pounding more beer, so I knew I wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't let me drive.
There is then a video of you on a secret YouTube account here. I was sitting there with my phone, and I was taking a video. He thought I was taking a picture, so he just held the pose. And you can he's begging me to take the picture, and I'm just laughing.
I was hammered. Well, that's because we went to Mike's, and Mike would let me drink. He'd make me drink moonshine and nothing else. No chaser, no mix.
Take a picture. You gonna take it? Take a picture. It was fun.
Talk about alcohol is I had to start drinking at about 9 a.m. the next day to get rid of the moonshine hangover from the night before.
Yep.
Good times.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a couple times I partied too much because I was telling Trev the other night, I knew it's bad, Chad, after spending 2 weeks down there at Doug and me and partying it up because I get home and I felt like shit. I go over to a buddy's place, I crack a beer and drink half of it, and I started feeling normal. I went, uh-oh.
You partied hard. Try being me.
You?
Try being me.
So I missed 1 year, okay, Chad? I missed 1 year. So Karma, his wife and his son, they go down with him, right? So, he buys a case of beer and whatever.
I usually drink a case of beer like for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's telling me on the way down, and Doug said the next year, then basically I was the only addition for the next year. Boom. So it's 4 of us. And Doug had said, like, Ben is coming off a bad breakup. He's going to kind of let loose a little, give him a little slack. As soon as they came to pick me up, I apologized to her in advance. I said, Grayson's going to learn at least 14 new words during this trip. I'm not responsible necessarily for my actions. And then I'm like, how do you feel about marijuana? And she's like, she told me, I'm cool with it. I'm like, that's good because you're going to be smelling it a lot. Just saying. She's like, okay, and so she's telling me, I said, well, I said, just so you know, you might be doing designated driver status. She goes, oh no, Doug always drives. Doug always drives. I said, well, Doug, not necessarily Doug always drives. When we were down here, Doug doesn't always drive. Sometimes Doug shouldn't be driving. Okay. Now, we should say our friend Mike only lives about a mile from the track. It's one road, well, 2 roads. It's very easy to get to and not policed too often. So,
a right, and a left.
Yes. Hopefully the statute of limitations. So we're just saying. But I said to Karen, Doug might drink a little. She goes, well, he only had like 4 beers in 2 weeks the whole time last time. I'm like, I think he'll drink a little more. And she's like, agree to disagree. And I went, we shall see, right? And so Doug ran out of the first 2-4 about day 5. The second 2-4 by day 8. And she's like, I don't understand it. And Doug, I hammered Doug one night, my drinking buddy's back.
Thankfully, after day 8 is when everyone else showed up and the free stuff came out.
Yeah. I remember, he was about to leave the trailer one day shirtless. She's like, no, you're not. He's like, Ben's shirtless. She says, you're not Ben.
And then I was like, and then that's where when everyone else showed up, I was like, go look at those people.
Right?
I'm not that bad.
And I remember too, the one time we're sitting there talking, and you're like, I got to go grab another beer. And then I'm waiting, and then all of a sudden it's been like 3 minutes, and I'm like, where the fuck Doug? And I go inside, and he's like getting tucked into bed, and I'm like, what's going on? I thought you were grabbing another beer. He goes, and Karma just looked at me, and he's like, I'm not allowed. I'm like, because I know because he came in, did a little speed wobble, and she's like, I remember at least 3 occasions she's just like, I haven't seen him this drunk in years. I'm like, I know. And she's like, how do you know? Because he gets this drunk every year with me, at least once or twice.
His drinking buddy's back.
Doug would just sip up. Doug would be the responsible one most nights, but there'd be a couple of times like, all right, we're getting lit tonight. He's like, and if Doug was in the mood, he's like, all right, and all of a sudden, oh boy, the Coombs boys would just tear it up, and that fridge would be emptied of beers in no time. And I'm not a big drinker either normally, but
it's too bad
that drink, apparently.
It's too bad that everyone down there has gone the way they have, and wouldn't be fun anymore down there for us because we could have did some shows down there and been like,
well, and most of our friends no longer are there.
No,
dude, most of them passed, unfortunately. But rest in peace, Sam and Mike. But yeah, we had some wild time. Yeah, and we don't mind cutting each other. We're just like this.
Oh yeah. Or
you know how it is, Chad. Like have a buddy.
It's a sign of affection, really.
Well, and especially like after us taking 15 to 20 hours to drive down, so we're already bing, 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 like a comedy team. So then you unleash us on the public, and it's just not fair. Like I still remember. Only the second year we were down there, we're riding on the back of a golf cart. Other people going by all here, Canada! And girlfriend looks at me, she says, who's that? I said, I have no idea. No idea.
No idea.
But that's where we're known. Our nickname was just Canada.
Just like, it's like even that first year on there, when that one guy from South Carolina that was like just
South Carolina.
not South Carolina, Dave. Calling her on the phone because all of his friends left him. So he was telling her to drive up to get him, and he's like, I don't know how to get here. So he hands the phone to me, like I freaking know how to get there. I was just like, you know what? He's an ass. Leave him here, and just hung up.
Yeah, they came over. Can I use your phone? I'm like, it doesn't work in this country. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not from this country. He's like, what? But you look and sound like me. No.
The best too is that the one night when the other campsite that almost drove into us the one night.
What is that?
Wanted to know if like all the strange brew stuff was real.
Yeah, it just to fuck with them when we tell them nope, yep, and certain things, whether or not it was true.
Well, especially, you know what? You go there and you take their directions to the Oktoberfest in London. Because you ain't getting to London.
No.
You're actually going to come to my house. Almost. So the directions are very close to my house that they're giving. And it's nowhere near London.
No.
Strange brew.
Yeah. Which was a bit of a documentary in some respects.
Yeah, there are parts of it for sure.
Yeah. The dress code for sure. Still.
The back bacon, yeah. Man, that record was a part of my childhood. The Bob and Doug record. Man, that vinyl.
I found my cassette just the other day.
I have the Strange Brew book just over here, I think, that's in the shape of a bottle.
I have.
Wow.
And on the bottom, because it's a picture of the bottle, and in the bottom of the bottle, there's an actual mouse. Well, not an actual mouse, but a drawing of a mouse.
I have the McFarlane figure action set, too, which is their set from SCTV. And then you press the side stage, and then it'll say stuff.
That's funny.
Complete with miniature beers and donuts and Coleman stove, cooler. 2 office chairs. The clearly office chairs that they were using on the set, which is hilarious. Desley Dave has the same book.
Yeah. And on the back, there's like a card, a membership card.
I think Desley Dave is the one that lives near the cornhole player, in Ohio. I should specify.
I could be going to Cleveland this year too, Ben. Just saying.
That's Billy's town. I don't have a passport, Doug.
I forgot. Well, if you did, you'd be signing on the way to the border as well. So.
Well, fuck, I'd be doing more than that. I'd be bending over, turned away, possibly kidnapped. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Can we look at your phone? I'd rather you didn't.
Nope.
To avoid an international incident, I'll just turn around now.
I will.
You hear the sad music from the end of Incredible Hulk TV show while I'm thumbing a ride back home because Doug's just leaving me there.
I will delete my entire.
Which will be a new album from Ben called "Left at the Border." Adam, Dave says Adam. Doug, if that rings a bell. Adam, the cornhole player.
Yeah. Yep. Mr. Hisner. He's heading to Croatia.
Thousands wouldn't, but I believe you. Thumbs up in the chat if you believe Doug.
Believe me. Although I do have to talk to your people.
Oh, my people?
Because
like my people? These people or just my people?
These people. Because you were just on my show the other week. It was a Facebook only show.
Yeah,
which then I did for some people put on YouTube later on.
That didn't go well.
No, not at all. So yeah, but 7 years. 6 years. This is now into my 7th year. So
6 years. That's
6
7.
years. Been 6 years. Going into my 7th year. This has been 6 years, and it is.
Because we talked about Croatia the other day.
Yep, but
here was I don't have people.
I'm only at 600 subscribers on my YouTube side. But like the first 50 were like
Yeah.
the first night I come on and talk with you,
Yes.
and just the help that they've given me, and
And there's still a handful of them that do tune in when you are on YouTube, especially.
Yep.
I'm seeing one of them in the chat right there. So,
yes,
well, actually, two of them.
That's cool how that works, eh? Like different people are part of, and then they meet people through this, and then
Right.
that is cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool. And then meeting people like in person is like Billy Baloney drove up from Cleveland to Toronto a couple of years ago. We met up at an event in Toronto at Cosmo Music. Unfortunately, the event sucked compared to previous years, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, it was really cool. Just hang out and talk in person.
Yeah, must have been cool when you went to NAMM too to meet all the
Surreal.
Yeah, I bet, eh?
Surreal. Well, especially the first year, because the first year I was still part of that kind of part of that Johnny Bean crowd. Like I had the poof shirt given to me from John Biel, for instance.
Right.
And that year, all the East Coast guys made out. Like Rob Johnson was there, Pete Caruccio, Dave's good friend with the gravel voice. Love Pete. Craig, the painter.
Yeah.
CHS Customs. Craig, he was there.
Oh yeah.
Tom Brino, he came up from Florida. He was the one that found Jerry Cantrell's Gold Wolfgang that was stolen.
Oh yeah. The Music Man, yeah.
He was that guy.
That's cool.
And
didn't Cantrell get Music Man to make him one to replace?
Yes, in the meantime. But then he got that one back. And yeah, now he's got all these Jerry stories because every time Alice in Chains plays in Florida, Tom still, I don't know about now, but like as of then, years later, you still get tickets every time. Tom, backstage pass, the whole thing.
That's super cool. Yeah, that was the one that the Floyd actually you could pull up on. It had the dugout cavity.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few ones, that's for sure.
Of course, and Johnny was there, and that was weird because everyone's like, "Good luck if you get a handshake from Johnny," because Johnny is a little odd. But then he gave me a hug, and that was really weird.
Okay.
Or I came in for it because I'm a hugger, and we hugged. I was like, "What?" And he was complaining how he hadn't eaten yet, and I'm like, "Dude, it's just like your show. Go eat. There's food."
Yeah, I've never been to an NAMM. I always wanted to go.
No, it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like Disneyland, but better
for gear.
Because the you'll see random Disney characters walk around, but they're the real character, not just someone dressed as the character.
I was gonna say it's like Disneyland, but just across the street.
That it is right across the street.
Is it Anaheim?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's across the street.
Yeah, it's literally across the street from Disneyland is the convention center.
That's
and
hilarious.
A hotel. And it's not that loud. I took earplugs. The only time I needed earplugs was in the drum area. That was fucking loud. Because it was just every Chinese crash in the world going off.
This coming from the guy that says I can't hear anything anyway. My ears are fucked.
Well, there is that. But for me, it was pleasant. I quite enjoyed it. I could talk. You spent your time either hanging around the Fender satellite room, I called it, which was your EVH, Charvel, Jackson, and Gretsch all shared one little room. But a lot of people showed up because that was where your Jackson endorsees, your Charvel endorsees, your Gretsch endorsees, and your EVH endorsees would show up if EVH endorsees would show up. Which, as such, it was funny watching that whole I'm going to call them the EVH fanboy crowd, Chad.
Yeah.
Because they would literally hang out outside that door all day, just hoping. Don't say it, Chad. Don't say the words. But, he showed up in 2012 at a NAMM, so he may do it again. And they would float between there and Boutique Amp distribution, which was aka the Friedman booth. Because Friedman had about a half that booth. Because the Friedman booth is like an episode of Tone Talk, an all-star episode, because you're like, saying the other day to somebody, like, it was very hard for me to try a Friedman amp because you went into this room that was built in the booth, and they had all the Friedman amps turned to at least upper bedroom, we'll say, volume. And you go in, and it's, you know, it's, of course, it's like a Friedman Cali sitting there, all Floyd Rosed up, and I'm like, you know, I'm not that guy. And I do, you know, and I will get tense around other players. And I remember, I go in, I'm literally picking up the guitar, and I'm about to play. Fucking George Lynch walks in. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, no.
Not gonna play, Chad. I want it. Here, you do it. You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't play in front of George Lynch either.
No, and it was just like that, you know. But or somebody else, or you know, it's just like, oh, I don't want to play in front of rock stars and industry legends. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Grover Jackson. I don't want to play in front of him. I bet you he still slays better than I ever will.
What year were you there?
2019 and 2020.
Oh, wow. So you were there before COVID, and then you were there when they had the Frankie debut.
Yeah, I was there for the Frankie debut, and the year before that was the Shark guitar debut.
Wow. Yeah, because, wow. Yeah,
And,
I probably would have been that guy hanging around the EVH booth. That probably would have been me, too.
Well, and I get then, like, and I floated back and forth quite a bit, too, just because also the Friedman booth had a bar with free booze, so that helped.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where I got to know Sammy Bowler there, and he was a nice guy, and we connected.
Oh, yeah.
And he thought it was cool that I talked to him instead of wanting to talk to Dave Friedman or something. I'm like, well, no, you're a guitar player. Dave builds amps. I'm not really into amps. Nice guy, don't get me wrong, but I'm not into amps, you know, as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that's where we did luck out, because it did get some traction for the channel, was 2020 when they released the Frankie, because I got dropped off. I told Aaron from Elvis Band was with us. I told him, you know, come up to the EVH room and shoot the video for me, because I was going to do a playing demo and talking and shit. And then put it out ASAP. Like, run outside, look for a fucking cell signal type thing, and be one of the first people to upload a Frankie video. And hopefully, Chad, we'll get a few hundred views and maybe a dozen subs. That was the idea. Well, Aaron basically no-showed. So I'm standing there, and Caleb Rappaport standing there, you know, from
Nerd Halen.
And at the first year, that wasn't really a thing, but it was becoming a thing by 2020. Okay. Like, I think he was wearing a Nerd Halen. Yeah, he was wearing a Nerd Halen shirt and stuff like that. So he says, tell you what. He goes, I'll shoot you if you shoot me.
Perfect.
I said, okay, well, you play first. He's like, okay. And just as he's going to start playing, I thought to myself, well, why don't I just have him play and I'll put it on my channel? Because he had his own channel. There was no Nerd Halen channel, I don't think, at that time. And his channel had like 100 subs. But at that time, I think mine had about 1,500 subs. So I thought, you know. And so, and it just happened that I cupped the phone a certain way. So it got rid of, it looked like regular lighting. But when I cupped it, it looked like stage lighting for whatever. So it looked really good. Like a happy accident. Shot this quick little 3-minute video. We go outside. I airdropped it to him. He does a quick edit on it. While he's doing that, I run into Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum and book him on a show. So that was cool. Come back. Say, okay, we'll upload it. And he liked the idea. Yeah, just put up on your channel. More exposure. Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. I don't remember when I put it up like that evening, I want to say, and you know, it was getting a bit of traction. Like, I noticed like it's getting double we'll say the normal views. Okay, cool. Then I fly out after, you know, the NAMM show. Of course, turn off my phone because I'm flying to a layover in Chicago from California. I get down, touchdown in Chicago, and my phone's fucking blowing up.
Yeah,
like Caleb's like, holy shit, have you seen what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And I open up YouTube, and the video has like 2,000 views.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is going on? Well, it turns out Van Halen News Desk did an article called The Highlights of NAMM and included my video as one of the highlights of NAMM.
That's cool.
Right? So, yeah. And it was the #1 video on this channel for a few years. Yeah, it really took off for a while. And for a while, then it just stayed in the algorithm. And it was just like, continuously one of my best performing videos day to day, getting whatever amount.
But that guitar was so hot. Like that was such a.
I almost ordered one myself because I was there compliments of Flipside Music. Flipside got one in, and they were going to sell it to me for below map because everybody charges the same, but because it was going to basically fall out of inventory and there would be no official sale, so I was getting it for above store cost but below market value, we'll say, and so to offset the cost of shipping it from Denver to here, and then some. But then it was so hot and there was delays because of COVID, which we were kind of joking about at the NAMM show. We knew about COVID at NAMM.
Yeah, January. Yeah, March was like the real shutdown. But
tell me about it. Literally the day right before it happened, I thought, gee, it's been about a year since my band broke up, Chad. I think I'm going to start a new band. And then the world shut down within 5 days of me deciding to start a new band. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not starting a new band. Hope we live.
Who was in Cleveland March 13th?
Yeah, he was going to a cornhole tournament, and literally, like, they canceled it during the night, like the night of. Or
Thursdays were traveling there, yeah.
Yeah, and he's texting with me. He goes, well, I got across the border, because we're talking about, like, dude, you guys are going to have to, like, quarantine there, quarantine back, or whatever. And no, because we didn't know about that until while you were there, and then it was literally for him to turn around
the border. Okay, hours. Shit, we got to go.
Yeah, leave, and then still having to quarantine when he got back from Cleveland, which, let's be honest, anybody that's been to Cleveland probably should quarantine themselves for a few days.
It was a literal ghost town, though.
Was it easy to get back?
Yes.
I was because there's no fucking traffic.
Yeah. We came back through Port Huron, Michigan. Other guys the other group that we were with come back through Buffalo, so we split. And they said as they're going back through Erie, Pennsylvania, towards Buffalo, there was like a line of like black SUVs, like 20 black SUVs were like just hammering by them. So I'm not sure what was going on there, but
black SUVs, sort of like I was thinking the Black Hawk helicopters that followed us all the way from
to Charlotte the one time. Yeah, right from
that was freaky.
Fort Drum to.
Because literally, we crossed the border at Thousand Islands, Chad, and just drive straight south on the same interstate all the way to Charlotte, basically. So it makes sense. Helicopters follow the interstate. You know, it's just easy to do that. And literally, we crossed the border, and all of a sudden, I noticed in my mirror, it's like, like out of an 80s, movie. I'm like, fucking 4 Blackhawks on our 6, and it was after dinner. Because we grabbed something to eat, and then it was like, I'm like, oh, okay. So then I don't think they necessarily fly at night, so they pulled off or whatever. And we're driving through the night, and we stopped for fuel, and boom, boom, boom. Driving again. It's about 45 minutes after sunrise, Chad. I look in the mirror. There's shit. I'm like, fucking helicopters again. Now, I'm not a paranoid guy, but
it's got a Goodfellas vibe to it.
We find out like a fucking week later, we get down there. Well, no, because we're only down for the one weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, all the way from Fort Drum, New York State, for the flyover, these 4 Black Hawk helicopters. Oh, for fuck's sakes. I'm like, all right, so I am paranoid, but it is true. Like, oh my God. But weird.
See, yeah, that would be freaky.
And we never heard them, and they were just like, it was just like that quarter mile back, and there they were, just.
Don't they have that silent mode that makes them extremely quiet?
I don't know, but yeah, I was like, woo, okay, I'm awake now. I don't need any coffee. Adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
I'm like, Doug. He's like, nah. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, shit. I was like, yeah.
That'd be weird.
And then whoever was with us was like, that's not the same helicopter. So I think they are.
Was that year one?
Canadian, where we have no military, you figure, they got to be the same helicopters. We don't have that many just spare.
Yeah, it's true.
Speaking of, I saw 3 snowbirds come in for a landing this evening.
They flew over. Okay, well, fuck me. Then that was what I heard this afternoon.
Yeah, snowbirds.
Because I had heard them the other week because they were going from Toronto to London. They just did the London air show, so they must have been coming back.
Yeah, but I only saw and heard 3. That's the weird part. I'm like, did we lose 6?
Oh, Ben, good thing you added an L in that comment.
Wow, we've already gone over 2 hours. How'd that happen?
Yeah. Because that's just what I do.
Yeah.
It's like a Saturday night for me. Oh, we're going to do a 45-minute show. Oh, 3 hours later.
Well, we'll definitely have to do another show, Chad. This has been fun.
Yeah, this was great. I mean, I think we did pretty good for the first one.
I think we did. Yeah, long overdue.
Yeah, it was great.
Great to put a face to a name after years and years. And
yeah, I can't believe this is the first time we've actually talked like that, because I feel like I know you, right? Like it's one of those things, right? It's just, yeah.
Well, and part of that is keeping up with each other on social media over the years too, right?
Yeah,
that's part of it. And
let
us know in the chat if it was a great show. I'll be back tomorrow with Connects with Guitars. I don't know what I played the Music Man last week. I don't know what I'm going to play tomorrow. Could play the new Gretsch. Might play the Explorer. Might play the Wolfgang before winter sets in.
Oh yeah, to save your hands.
Yeah. Well, stainless steel frets are sharp, and
Oh, Chad, maybe next time, Ben can finally hop on a plane, and we'll head to the Sandpiper Recording Studios and do something there.
Sounds like a plan. Love it.
He's lost.
Drop.
He's lost.
No, I'm not.
I'm in.
Keith, that's the upstairs guitar. That still has the same strings on it since I got it. So I'm not restringing it. Wayne McConnell out of Kelowna. There we go. Awesome. A bunch of people late. Hang the line here, Chad.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody that tuned in tonight. Oh, yeah, we got demos coming out this week. I don't know, acoustics of some shape or form, because I was too lazy to plug in. But there will be more Gretsch demos coming out soon, because there's 2 Gretches at Long McQuaid I haven't demoed yet. So, mazel, because nobody else demos Gretches on YouTube except for me, apparently. Loving the Purple Access Club member, Chad. Yeah, Tom has one of the... Yeah, he got, like... When you date it, it's like Eddie left the company then. Tom got the... Like one of the first actual Ernie Ball accesses, and I think Purple as well. He said, "Ask what year is yours?" His is in '96. See?
Yeah, this is 2023.
There you go, 2023.
Yeah, so
I did, Charles. I said Gretsch. So hold those doors open. I don't know. Let Doug head in traffic, although he might be driving an ice surfacer. So you're going to be, if you let him in ahead of you, you're going to be stuck behind him for a while because it's not fast moving. Top Gear is still low.
9.6 kilometers.
Yeah. I don't know what that is in miles an hour. Don't care. Anyways, he'll tell you his wife is real. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Be good to each other. Happy tone chasing. And I should probably find the closing before I end the closing. There we go. And of course,
right there. It's right there. There you got it.
Right there. Don't litter.